This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Hold on to your hats. We are on the grid. Who is going to be king of the late breakers? Excellent onboard shot. Michael Spiegel is throwing absolutely everything at this, including the kitchen sink. Look at this. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Disaster strikes.
Unglaublich.
Wow, qué pelea.
I'm loving this.
Take your hat off and give him a bow. He's already in the lead and now he can sail off into the sunset.
This is Racing Unleashed.
In our racing lounge in Kemptal, but of course we bring all our lounges together as we race with the Racer League drivers today. We had a fantastic time with our Challenger League drivers yesterday, and of course if you are one of our competitors, then you get some exclusive benefits through being involved with Racing Unleashed, and one of those exclusive benefits is being able to meet and greet top people like Fabian Vettel, who I'm thrilled you're joining me in the on-air team again this weekend. So Fabian, how was the meet and greet?
Yeah, like you said, we had the honor to meet and greet, and I had the honor to drive to talk all to the drivers, and especially last topic was about social media and my work in social media and what kind of tips and tricks I can advise to the drivers. And looking forward to the next meet and greet, of course, and first of all looking forward to race in Silverstone.
And of course, yes, the race in Silverstone is going to be exemplary, I feel sure. I can't help but notice you had the steering wheel in bits here from our Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022 car. That's a fantastic bit of kit, isn't it, Fabian?
Yeah, of course. It's always special for me to be in a racing lounge, to look at the awesome machines that we are having here. And I'm always, want to learn more about steering wheels and all that stuff and how those simulators are working.
They are wonderful. We'll hear more from Fabian, of course, during the course of our program today. You're very welcome to join us. And Fabian was talking about social media. We'd love you to be part of the Racing Unleashed family by engaging with us in social and on social media as well. Now, of course, as I mentioned earlier, we had a fantastic race with our Challenger League drivers yesterday, and we're going to see just a little recap of that race in just a few moments. But before we do that, let's meet up with one of our influencers, the top man, racing star as well, who's going to tell us all about Silverstone, and that is Mr. JWW.
All right, welcome back. Today we are racing Silverstone, the home of British motorsport. It's just under 6 kilometers long, and it is a beautiful balance of high-speed straights, slow hairpins, and a wonderful montage of downforce. There is a particular set of bends on Silverstone known as Maggots and Beckett's, which is an extreme direction change, some of the fastest and gnarliest corners on the F1 calendar. Today, it's going to be a close race, it's going to be endurance, it's going to be intense. These guys are going to go through some serious challenges. Stay tuned, don't go away.
Thank you, JWW, then, giving us all the information about Silverstone, the home of British motorsport. Welcome once again to Racing Unleashed and our program today with the Racer League drivers that will be taking place at that fantastic circuit. Now, I mentioned earlier on that we have a couple of films together. We thought they were going to be back-to-back, but quite clearly not. And that is because our Racer League drivers raced today. Our Challenger League drivers raced yesterday in Silverstone. Let's have a little recap. Hold on to everything as the lights go out. It's a reasonable start from Felipe Gonzalez, but I said that Yannick Pletcher could be a danger man from here. Looks like he is being hounded right at the start of this and has lost a place already, and it goes back down to P5, so that's something like the commentator's curse, isn't it? So Gonzalez from Georgiev, and then Sambra, who I also said would be one to watch, and Sambra P3, and Nico Farland up to P4 as the drivers make their first tentative steps around this huge Silverstone circuit, which comes with such heritage. Here is Felipe Gonzalez Tiziano to the inside then, and he's going to make this work. So absolutely brilliant move from Tiziano Caponio up into P3. And it's another lap on the record charts with Luca Keller staying in P5 and preventing David Seed moving further up the order. Through farm we go. And now, an opportunity for David Seed. He had to be bold there and had to be committed to it, and he was. And now David Seed has received some of his own medicine back again. And he still stays ahead of Luca Keller and Sinan Demirbaş. And this is how Luca Keller is having to defend from Sinan Demirbaş. And now he had additional momentum there. But Julian Manchester La Rosa was almost able to take advantage as well. And that's the trouble when you're hunting because you're being hunted at the same time. To the inside now, a little barge on the wheel. As Yannick Pletcher now goes for P3 to the outside of Tiziano Caponio. It's a long way around this turn, but that was a brilliant overtake from Yannick Pletcher. Now Tiziano will be feeling the heat of aggression, if you will, from David Seed, who we're on board with now. And sure enough, David Seed up the inside, almost as if we'd cued that perfectly by script. David Seed goes through on Tiziano Caponio as we are on lap 19 of 20. And here comes David Seed's attack then for the final podium place to the inside of Yannick Pletcher. There is a touch between the two of them. It was another aggressive move from David Seed, and Yannick Pletcher is having none of it. Naff off might have been the expression used by Yannick Pletcher. You're going to have to try harder than that, David Seed, he says. And what did I say about Tiziano Caponio? Just as David Seed goes around, David Seed loses the back end of the car. Such was his quest to try and get by. He lost out the back end of the car, and that relegates him now to P6. The final lap of this race at Silverstone. It all livens up really rather nicely because David Seed has come back here. And David Seed on Tiziano Caponio now, all the way around the outside. Is looking for P5. The outside gives him the inside for the next turn. He is in P5. Sinan Demirbaş was just so clever. But a commanding victory from Ciro Zambra. Yannick, left Yannick. Thank you. Right, it is P1 and P3 that we can see here in Zurich being celebrated. And a big thumbs up for Nico Farland then P2. Team Farland, rules okay. Well, the celebrations for Yannick Pletcher were short-lived. Following a protest from another driver, he picked up a penalty, which elevated Sinan Demirbaş to take P3. You can see there the P with Yannick Pletcher. Also, David Seed and Julian Manchester La Rosa picking up penalties as well. And they were not the only ones. As you can see from our classification, Borjo Zaza, Lorenzo Haider, Hugo Pinto and Valentin Gorgiev also picking up penalties for that result. So that proves, if you will, the sporting integrity of Racing Unleashed, because a number of penalties were issued after the checkered flag. And also Yannick Pletcher missing out on a podium. And that was only notified to us overnight, to be honest with you, because as I am given to understand, you can make an appeal, or another driver can make an appeal, and that information and all the images and video footage, etc., and data is looked at. And therefore, presumably, the appeal was upheld, which is why Yannick Pletcher lost his podium. And Fabian Vettel is with us throughout the programme today. I was saying just in that little piece there, Fabian, that the sporting integrity of Racing Unleashed is uncompromised. And the race direction team, they have access to so much data and so many images. And as I understand it, an appeal can be placed by another driver. Is that up to 24 hours after the result?
Yeah, exactly. Like you are describing it. Basically, the drivers have the chance until midnight to make that appeal and fill out a protest form. And after that, the race control needs to look after that situation again. So the procedure was yesterday. One driver made that appeal. The race control checked the situation and made the decision to give him, I think, a 5-second penalty.
And let's take a look at the situation and what caused the Yannick Pletcher penalty now then. We have the footage here. So Felipe Gonzalez to the left-hand side of the screen, as you can see, and Yannick Pletcher with something of a side swipe there, and there we can see it from another angle. Now that caused Felipe Gonzalez not only to go into the runoff area but also end up in the gravel as well. So what it proves is that as a racing driver, and this applies just as much with our fantastic Racing Unleashed series as it does in real racing, if you will, and that is that you can get away with nothing, because this team that you can see here behind us, Fabian, they have, I don't know, something like 10 screens there with data and camera angles and everything. Fabian, you've raced on tracks, you're an e-sport racer, you're a fantastic ambassador for Racing Unleashed. Can't get away with anything, can you?
Yeah, it's, like you said, we see the race control behind me. So we already saw the situation. Pletcher came out of the back of Gonzalez and just dive bombed into Stowe. And he was just way too late on the brakes and crashed into him. So I would say the situation is clear, and also a 5-second penalty is clear.
Thank you very much, Fabian. More to come from Fabian Vettel during the course of our program today. Absolutely thrilled that he's part of our on-air team today. Of course, he was part of the team yesterday with our Challenger League race, where he was based in our Zurich lounge. But today we get the opportunity for him to be with us here in Kemptal. So let's take a look at the championship rankings now for our Racer League, with Michael Smeedel on a very commanding position in P1 on 102 points. Then it's Angelo Mikhail and Alejandro Sanchez. They're quite close together in P2 and 3. Javier Lauro, Enrique Marino, Christoph Holstein, Wojciech Polesny, Mark Gasner, Loris Mistretta and Dominic Dedic then. They occupy the top 10 positions in our ranking at the moment, with Florian Hassa, Coque Lopez, David Ladomada, who I was chatting to just a few moments ago, Lorenzo Hader, who made a guest appearance in the Racer League, Jan Teufel, Fabio Vettiger, Sebastian Hirsch, Ivan Kaufmann, Devin Iskro, Kevin Abe, then rounding out the next 10 positions in terms of our Drivers' Championship points in the Racer League. With Roger Marte and Ralf Piringer, then Devin Browner, Nico Farland, Besnik Mertetzi, Lars Bormeiler, Yannick Vonneberg and Tobias Schmidt then. And we are now into our gear up session, which is our free practice session, where the drivers get their first opportunity to get a feeling for this Silverstone circuit like they haven't practiced yet, of course. So here we are then. This Silverstone circuit, as Mr. JWW was imploring earlier on, is a fantastic place. So different to the roller coaster that's Brands Hatch, which is where we were in the UK last time around. Here we are at Silverstone, 5.8 kilometres, 18 turns, 9 of them are right, 9 of them are left-handers, and we're seeing Javier Lauro now rounding out the first lap. Jesus Cecilia is on course as well, currently third fastest, a welcome addition to the ranks of Racing Unleashed in the Racer League. And this gear up session, as Alejandro Sanchez is currently second fastest with a 1:44.244. 1:44.244. Already the first 4 minutes of this gear up session have gone. It goes away very, very quickly. And from gear up, of course, we go to our knockout qualifying, which is utterly brilliant. And I know I extol the virtues of it so much, but it is superb. Here is Alejandro Sanchez on the Wellington Straight then. The BRDC clubhouse to the right-hand side, and a face full of concentration and absolute commitment from Alejandro Sanchez in Madrid, as now he will head towards the old National Pit Straight here and head up into the next corner, which of course is Cops. And Michael Smeedel then with such a huge advantage in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. It's fair to say he does not share our knockout qualifying with quite the same enthusiasm that I do, but Michael proving that actually the knockout qualifying does work, because he is still right at the top of the charts and doing a very good job. One of the most winningest drivers in Racing Unleashed. And Michael Smeedel from the Czech Republic chooses to be in the Munich lounge today for his racing here in Silverstone. This is Angelo Mikhail, another driver with much success in Racing Unleashed. And we can follow him as he locks up then going into that turn. Here he is then with trademark baseball cap and trademark facial expressions as he passes the wing complex on the right-hand side. Is he going to try a dive to the inside here? No, he's not close enough. In fact, he runs to the runoff area, just manages to keep the car off the grass, and now does dive bomb up the inside, just keeps away from those sausage curbs. Good move there by Angelo Mikhail. Absolutely futile and unnecessary as he loses it. We stay on board with Angelo Mikhail, and that just proves that these drivers are absolutely racing on the edge in these Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022 cars, new for 2022. As we go beyond the Pinnacle, Enrique Marino, next driver that we check in with. The order at the moment is Javier Lauro is the quickest, and here is Enrique Marino. It was really good to see Enrique yesterday. Was really enjoying the Challenger League races, and actually sat behind some of the Challenger League races in Madrid, enjoying the race activity and supporting and offering his support to those drivers in the Challenger League as well. It's a great family experience in Racing Unleashed, with a great deal of camaraderie between all the drivers, whether they race in the Fun League, the Challenger League, or indeed the Racer League, which is where we are right now. Also in Madrid right now is Javier Lauro, and here is Javier then making his way around the final turn and heading down the start-finish straight here, carrying as much speed as possible. He's currently running P4. And Javier just with a quick look in the rearview mirror. This is Christoph Holstein as Jizu Sicilia makes it into P2 with a 1:31 time. And here is Christoph Holstein into the final sequence of turns before rounding out the lap here at Silverstone. As I mentioned, it's our second event here of our tour around Europe, and see one driver running very wide there, Florian Hassa. Enrique Marino now the fastest driver with a 1:31.019. Are we going to see times into the 1:30s? Florian Hassa then through Luffield holding on to this car. Is currently P9. And as you can see, just cruising along. This is not a competitive lap. He's allowing faster drivers to go through. A very gentlemanly conduct there from Florian. Not impeding any other drivers. Devin Iskro, another driver that I was speaking to just before coming on the air, and Devin Iskro, really likable young man, and hugely talented as well. There is Devin underneath the bridge on the Hangar Straight, then heading up towards the right-hander. Now, Stowe corner is taken almost flat. You get to hear that Devin did lift, and most drivers do, and certainly when I've been round Silverstone in my rental car, I've certainly been lifting through Stowe and through Club Corner as well. Wojciech Polesny as Alejandro goes into the 1:30s. I said that we would get a time potentially in the 1:30s in this gear up session, and we have from Alejandro Sanchez. Wojciech Polesny then, another very talented driver from the Czech Republic, rounds out another lap. He's currently running P12. But expect this lap to be even quicker too. Here's David Laudamada then, who has chosen to come into the pit lane. David is at the moment running in P11. Christoph Holstein, who at one point was leading the chart, is now running in P5. It's Marinon now who has bested Alejandro Sanchez by a 1/10.5 to go P1. All the times are completely academic though, because this is just a gear up session. It doesn't count for anything other than the driver experience here at Silverstone as we watch Fabio Vettiger now. His best time, a 1:32.941, so still some pace to come from Fabio, I feel sure. It's Marinon from Sanchez, from Midel, from Lauro, Holstein, Sicilia. Then it's Mistretta, Kaufmann and Iskro, and Wojciech Polesny rounding out the top 10 at the moment. And just 15 seconds remaining in our gear up session. And then next on the agenda will, of course, be the fantastic knockout qualifying, as a couple of drivers, as you can see, have exceeded the track limits by offering groundkeeping opportunities to the groundkeeping staff at Silverstone by mowing the grass for them. Enrique Marino, fastest driver. Alejandro Sanchez, second fastest driver, as the checkered flag comes out on our gear-up session. The clock has counted down to 0, and there is Enrique Marino then. Always a very, very serious face on Enrique when it comes to racing. Takes it, deals with it absolutely professionally on the Wellington straight now before braking. And as you can see, our gear-up session done and dusted. If you're concerned about a little red mark underneath my eyes here, then just be assured I wasn't boxing last night, but a rather errant wasp during dinner decided to attack my eyes. Well, said wasp has now met its maker, I can assure you, but the pain still exists today. But of course, as you would expect of me, I will work my way through it and continue unabated. That's what Racing Unleashed is all about. 100% commitment and 100% huge prize fund as well, with over 200 Swiss francs up for grabs across the entire series this year. It is a wonderful series which we love, and the racing, of course, has been absolutely fantastic through the Challenger League and the Racer League all season long. We are on our second date, if you will, of our UK tour here in Silverstone. Here's just an example of what the prize money can do for you. In the Racer League today, if you take P1 in the race, you put 3,500 Swiss francs in your pocket. Yep, 3.5 grand in your hand if you win. 2.5 grand for P2, 1,500 for P3, grand for P4, 750, 600, all the way down to the top 10, earning good money in the Racer League. And you can see the Challenger League attracts a very, very attractive prize funding as well. So brilliant stuff. Another elevation, if you will, in our New for 22 campaign, because the prize fund got even increased still further. So as we continue our series of tech talk, we're going to take a look at some of the features of our Formula Hybrid Evo X 2022. And let's talk pedals.
All right, in the sim racing world, your pedal box is everything. It gives you your feedback and feel, and in a high downforce car such as a single-seater or a Formula One, the modulation is really important. Now, this is no ordinary pedal box. The feeling, particularly under high speed, high downforce braking, just gives you so much confidence. Together with these belts, the whole thing just gels and simulates 5 Gs of braking pressure.
Interesting. Those pedals then, like everything else associated with our Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022 simulator, made in Maranello, may I add, in Italy, that they are the real deal, no question about that. And of course those cars, those simulators and our drivers propelling around the Silverstone circuit today, which is a fantastic circuit. Many people consider it to be the absolute home of British motorsport. It is very, very revered and loved by every driver. And of course, just a few weeks ago, we saw crowds well in excess across the 3 days of 100,000 people who were enjoying the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Let's take a look at the 5.89 kilometres now then, and give you our preview of this fantastic track. So our animation, which is absolutely glorious. It is indeed the home of British motor racing, 5.891 kilometres long. 8 left-handers, 10 right-hand turns, depending on how you count them. 274 metres from start to turn 1. And one of the most exciting sequences is Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, the enjoyable sequence of corners. Now, as you get off then from the start-finish straight, the new wing complex, well, not so new now. Fabian Vettel, Albion Farm is where you're going. Silverstone strikes me as one of these circuits that you cannot afford to breathe almost. You are on it from start to finish. Is that true? Well, Fabian will be giving us his guidance into the Silverstone circuit in just a moment. We can see here as all the drivers approach Brooklands, which is another fantastic turn. Every single turn here has got its own unique character. And then as you go through Luffield, And onto the left-hand side of the screen, you can actually see the old commentary boxes that we used to work from as we went through Woodcote now and on to the old national pit straight. And then this is the sequence that really starts. Let's try again with Fabian Vettel. You carry so much speed through Copse, and then it is then this incredible sequence of corners, which for a racing driver is one of the most exciting sequence of corners on the track, isn't it? Beckett's, Chapel, Maggots, of course. And then you are on to the hanger straight before the right-hander, which is the Stowe turn. And now you're beginning to reach the pinnacle of the lap and complete the lap. As you can see the wing complex in front of you, braking into Vale. Avoid the sausage curbs on the left. Try and carry as much speed through Club, which is almost a double apex turn. Before you're back onto the start-finish straight again. This is Club 2, if you will. And then it's pedal to the metal as you bank your lap here at Silverstone. Across the timing line, start-finish straight. That is our track preview of this wonderful Silverstone circuit. Cars are out then for the knockout qualifying. Let me explain how knockout qualifying works. I love it. Basically, the safety car leads the cars around for a lap, and then there are some guarded laps where you can overtake, but you will not be eliminated, because after laps 3 and 4, 2 drivers are eliminated on every single lap. And that means that those drivers that are starting at the back of the pack have got to do some overtaking. And the way that the order in which the cars come out of the pits and paddock is nominated is in championship order, reversed. So, the likes of Mikhail Smeedel, Angelo Mikhail, Alejandro Sanchez, Javier Lauro, Enrique Marino, they all start from the back of the pack, and therefore they've got to get by as many cars as possible to maintain their presence in the knockout qualifying. And so the safety car continuing to lead the cars away. The time to do the overtaking is right at the start during those guarded laps, because no drivers are going to be eliminated then. But then it becomes something of a fantastic spectacle. It becomes a race in its own, really, because all the drivers trying to do the overtakings. We can see David Ladomada there just easing up, and then you can see what the drivers are doing here. They're just rubbing up the back wheels and spinning them up to give them some heat into those tires. Safety car driver, I have to say, and this is regulated in terms of what speed the safety car driver does, but at the moment, the safety car is being very, very cautious leading these cars around this track. It speeds up across the second part of the lap so that the drivers get up to a higher speed. It pulls off into the pit lane, and the first of our series of guarded laps will get underway now. So the drivers are allowed to overtake, but they won't be eliminated on the first couple of laps or so. So we will see who does what during this knockout qualifying then. I remind you that no drivers will be eliminated during the guarded laps, but then 2 drivers are eliminated on every single lap. We're watching Mikhail Smeedel now. He's one of the drivers that's got to make way and find his way up the order. You can see him trying to overtake already. He, of course, is in a brilliant, commanding position in the Drivers' Championship at the moment as he weaves from side to side. He's currently 16th. And therefore needs to get past some cars to elongate his period of time in knockout qualifying as he dives to the inside here. Perfect execution from Mikhail Smeedel as he gets by Angelo Mikhail. So up to P15 now. And don't expect that to be the last of the overtakes that we see from this very talented young man during the course of this knockout qualifying phase. Jesus Cecilia leading from Devon Iskro and Yannick Vonenberg at the moment. Now, if Cecilia and Iskro have got anything about them, they'll try and escape up the road from the likes of Yannick Vonenberg and Sebastian Hirsch and Ivan Kaufman and Fabio Vettiger, because it will guarantee them a fantastic grid position. Here's Enrique Marino, another driver, needing to do some overtaking here. He's at Stowe at the moment, and the seriousness of Sebastian Hirsch continues as well, because he's not happy with P4 and is trying to get by Yannick Vonenberg to elevate himself into what would be the P3 position. Now, excellent fastest lap comes from Devin Iskro, a 1:32.201, which is promptly bettered by Mikhail Smedel with a 1:32.195. So Smedel, the quickest guy out there at the moment, but he's got Alejandro Sanchez ahead of him, and Alejandro is no easy driver to get by. So having got by Angelo Mikhail, he needs to get by Alejandro Sanchez. So we follow Mikhail Smedel now, this big train of cars which contains Sanchez and Lauro and Marinon, and Holstein gets by Loris Mistretta, and all sorts of strife during that knockout qualifying with, of course, drivers blind to, as they come around the corner to what's gone on. Now, that plays a little bit into the hands of the likes of Javier Lauro, and also potentially to Mikhail Smedel as well. They're able to move up the order. Dave Richardson was one of the drivers involved in that little skirmish there during our knockout qualifying. And making contact with the barriers there was Sebastian Hirsch. Here's Michael Smedel then, having got by Ivan Kaufman and Alejandro Sanchez. Also involved in that situation. He has taken advantage of that, and he's now chasing down Loris Mistretta. Angelo Mikhail and Javier Lauro having a nice ding-dong battle between them here, arguing over the P10 place in our qualifying at the moment. Our knockout qualifying as Jesus Cecilia sets the fastest lap. First lap I think we've seen in the 1:31s. Loris Mistretta currently running P12. So when it comes to the first knockout laps then, which is not far away now, it's going to be, unbelievably, Alejandro Sanchez and David Ladomado that are going to be in the drop zone, unless they can do anything about it. And Alejandro Sanchez does do something about it by immediately getting by Ivan Kaufman. So that means that Alejandro Sanchez will at least be able to run another lap. Will he be able to get on terms with Loris Mistretta and Mikhail Smedel? I question, but we will see. And big sideways moment there for Ivan Kaufman, who got it so wrong through that turn. Ended up piling on the opposite lock and was not able to control it, and the car ended up pirouetting. Sebastian Hirsch has got by Yannick Vonneberg to go P2. And Devin Iskro, who has lost a number of places, he's now P7, so it is Cecilia P1. Hirsch is P2, Yannick Vonneberg is P3, then it's Fabio Vedica. Then it's Haase, Holstein, Iskro, Marinon, Polesny, and Mikhail. They are rounding out the top 10 at the moment. Here is Sebastian Hirsch then. And you can see Cecilia has done exactly as I indicated and suggested would be a good course of action, and that is to disappear as far up the road as you can. He's got a margin of very nearly 6 seconds on Sebastian Hirsch. So plenty of overtaking going on, which is why we love this knockout qualifying. And Alejandro Sanchez now sets the fastest lap, a 1:31.465. Alejandro Sanchez currently running P14. And here is Ivan Kaufman, who makes contact with the barriers. And David Ladomada and Ivan Kaufman are eliminated from our qualifying. Now, the next drivers in the hot seat with regards to the drop zone, Alejandro Sanchez and Loris Mistretta. Mistretta getting by Alejandro Sanchez as well. Now, it's academic because Loris Mistretta needs to get by Mikhail Smedel also, which will be something of a big ask because he's about a second up the road as Alejandro Sanchez fights back and does go by Loris Mistretta. They are arguing over positions that would give them the 7th row of the grid at the moment because they are P13 and P14. Enrique Marino, he's P6, which would equate to a row 3 start. And here's Michael Smedel then, with cars ahead of him, and he knows that he needs to get by them. He's full of concentration, full of focus, and full of pace as well as he rides up now on the Hangar Straight heading towards Stowe Turn. Really puts a lot of power through Stowe Turn. There's one car advantaging Michael Smedel, who now has Javier Lauro and Fabio Vettiga right in front of him. So it's Mistretta and Haase that we're going to lose, which means Sanchez gets to fight another lap. So Loris Mistretta and Florian go then as Smedel. Is he going to take 2 at once here? He was taking a look around the wide outside there, but here comes Alejandro Sanchez on Michael Smeedel. Smeedel, though, has got the better run out of that turn. He's got the inside line here. And that was a perfect overtake from Michael Smeedel, who now needs to get on terms with Javier Lauro. Here comes Sanchez, who's followed suit and gone through as well, as we split the shot here and give you Alejandro Sanchez through Luffield, not only inside the simulator, but also to the right-hand side of the picture. You can see through Woodcut how he is dealing with this. And Sanchez is in the drop zone along with Yannick Vonenberg. What would prevent Sanchez being in the drop zone? It's basically getting by this guy that we're on board with now, Michael Smeedel. And Smeedel at the moment is able to show a clean pair of heels to Alejandro Sanchez, as he's now actually going to get by and get through with another lap, because Devin Iskro has dropped down the order. So it means that Yannick Vonenberg and Devin Iskro are in danger of being dropped at the end of this lap and eliminated at the end of this lap. Here's Alejandro Sanchez then right onto the gearbox of Mikhail Smeedel, who has not yet found a way past Javier Lauro, but I rather suspect that the opportunity will come, or he will feel that the opportunity will be there across the next lap, because if it isn't, then he will be in the drop zone. Here is Javier Lauro, and another car dropping down the order means that Mikhail Smeedel and Alejandro Sanchez both taking advantage of that. So Alejandro Sanchez in the drop zone with Fabio Vettigo. We're on board with Javier Lauro, who's currently running P7. This is Angelo Mikhail, who's out on his own. Wojciech Polesny, who we've not mentioned and we should do, is doing a good job in P5. Trying to find the pace to get on terms with Christoph Holstein, who is currently P4, so it would be a second row start if everything stopped as we are at the moment. Holstein would be starting from the second row of the grid. It would be the fourth row for Mikhail Smeedel currently, unless he can find a way past Javier Lauro, as we see him into shot now. There is Michael then, and Javier Lauro, and of course Michael's in this difficult position where he's trying to attack Javier Lauro, but he's also being minded of this young man, Alejandro Sanchez, who he's having to defend from. And I love watching Alejandro Sanchez inside that. Look, he's just so cool, so unfussed and so focused. Just looks like he's out for a Sunday afternoon drive, which of course we know his racing prowess is such that that is never the case. He is uber competitive, but at the moment he and Fabio Vettiga are in the drop zone from our knockout qualifying, and Mikhail Smeedel still chasing down Javier Lauro. He would not only need to get by Javier Lauro, but also get by Angelo Mikhail, as we say cheerio to Alejandro Sanchez and Fabio Vettiga. Their qualifying is done. It's going to be a fifth row start for them. So what can Smeedel do now? He has the remainder of one lap to get by two cars ahead of him. Alejandro Sanchez discussing his performance during that knockout qualifying. He's Smeedel then. Now, he can do damage from a fourth row start on the grid. There's no question about that. He's won races from further back than that. So don't be under any illusion. G2, incidentally, some 7 seconds up the road on Sebastian Hirsch. Fantastic performance during this knockout qualifying. And I have to say, really good defending from Javier Lauro, because never once, in my opinion, has Michael Smeedel really looked like he's going to be able to throw a move on Javier Lauro. And here is Michael Smeedel. I wonder whether he's just conceded the fact that it is going to be a fourth row start for him. He's going to be going from P8 on the grid, and that now, as he goes through the double apex here, is confirmed as we lose Javier Lauro and Michael Smeedel. Their knockout qualifying is done, and we say cheerio to Javier, who did well to defend from Michael Smeedel, although I think, in fairness, he had the pace in his own right, where Michael was not causing him too much problem. So it's Wojciech Polesny and Angelo Mikhail now, who are in the drop zone. Now, I would suggest that Angelo has got not one hope in being able to get on terms with Wojciech Polesny, because he's some 2.5 seconds down on him. He is closing the gap a little bit, but it's such a big... Whoa, there's a little bit of oversteer there. He controlled it quite nicely and held on to it. Wojciech Polesny is far enough back from Christoph Holstein, about 8/10 it is, that Holstein will feel pretty confident that he's going to go through to the next lap. So the two drivers that we could lose at the end of this lap, this is one of them. Wojciech Polesny currently running P5. Under the bridge on the Hangar Straight. And here is Christoph Holstein then, P4. So Cecilia and Hirsch, with Cecilia with some 6.5 seconds over Sebastian Hirsch. And I think it's as likely as not. And that is confirmed now as the cars cross the timing line that we lose. Wojciech Polesny and Angelo Mikhail, and Enrique Marino sets a new fastest lap from his P3 position in knockout qualifying. And that really rather cements the fact that Christoph Holstein is not going to be able to get near him. Here is Christoph Holstein driving in one of our simulators in the circle in Zurich. A little bit of an over rev as he went into that turn. And Enrique Marino then. And Cecilia is so far up the road that he's probably stopped for his lunch already, because he's got 6 3/4 seconds over Sebastian Hirsch. Enrique Marino then, who just set the fastest lap of the entire knockout qualifying session. Looks like it's going to be a P3 start for him. Then Christoph Holstein, of course, running in P4. You can see all the 4 cars now that remain, or you could then, all the 4 cars that remain in this knockout qualifying session. And Enrique Marino then, whose emotionless face heads down towards the wing complex, just this chicane to do, and then the double apex final turn. And Enrique Marino banks his P3 in qualifying, therefore a row 2 start for Marino and Holstein. And therefore the Super Pole shootout really doesn't come because the Cecilia is so far up the order that, barring utter disaster, there's no way Sebastian Hirsch is going to be able to get on terms here. So here we can see our final lap in our knockout qualifying session then from Silverstone, as Racing Unleashed goes beyond the Pinnacle. And here is Cecilia then at Woodcote, the old National Pit Straight here, heading up towards that fantastic turn, which is Copse. And Sebastian Hirsch heading towards Copse now. And nothing that Sebastian can do to really get on terms with Cecilia, who is just so far up the road. But brilliant driving from both of those drivers, and the front row start for Cecilia and Hirsch. And here is Cecilia then, with the final few turns to be done. Watch the sausage curbs, which he's done perfectly throughout this qualifying session, and heads towards the checkered flag. He's in our racing lounge in Madrid, and he has made it count. Brilliant stuff. It's P1 for Cecilia, pole position. And that's absolutely confirmed. Sebastian Hirsch eliminated, of course, and all those other drivers eliminated as well. So the time that Cecilia puts in now is completely and totally academic, because he will be starting exactly where he would like to, right at the front of the pack. As always then, our knockout qualifying delivering not only fantastic lap times but great entertainment for us as well, as thoroughly enjoyed that. Very good stuff from all of our drivers during knockout qualifying. And of course, what I love about the knockout qualifying is that the drivers line up in that championship order, but reversed. So the fastest drivers start from the very, very back of the pack when they're let out by the safety car. It is in reverse order, which I think is fantastic and affords us almost another race in itself from our knockout qualifying session. Absolutely superb, and well done to all the drivers. There were just a couple of elements of contact, and I could see, looking left from my studio position here that the race direction team are taking and keeping an eye on everything that went on during that knockout qualifying, and they will be judging whether anything needs to be looked at all. And in Madrid is Mr. Sicilia, who has done a brilliant job in qualifying. Now, I have not, and I don't know, you may tell me off, have I pronounced your Christian name correctly? Jesus Sicilia?
Yeah, it's okay.
Ah, good.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, and may I just say, that was a really, really dominant performance because you had 6 and 7 seconds of advantage over anybody else. Quite clearly, Jesus, you must love the Silverstone circuit.
Yeah, well, I think the one who was second had a mistake, and that's why I could take some advantage. But well, it's really good to have the pole for the race.
Of course it is. Now, the most obvious question, and the question that I get, that I criticise other people for saying, is obviously the impetus is on you to convert that pole position into the race win, but you're going to have 17 very hungry drivers behind you, Gizu.
Yeah, sure, it will be very difficult. This is my first time in this kind of simulator, and there are a lot of sensations and feelings that you have to well, I mean, it's very difficult to be fast at the start of when you start with this kind of simulator. But well, I will try my best.
Well, based on what you've delivered so far, I have to say, number one, and I should have said this at the start of our conversation, welcome to Racing Unleashed, and welcome to that simulator, which is the Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022. And I have to say, Gizu, your performance in knockout qualifying would suggest that you seem to have learned the intricacies of that simulator very well so far, friend.
Well, I have to learn still. I have to learn a lot. But yeah, well, let's see in the race.
Well, we let you go off and celebrate your pole position now in Madrid. It was lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for being there. And once again, many, many congratulations on pole position.
Thank you so much.
So, Jesus Cecilia then having done a great job. And yes, I should have said right at the start of our conversation, welcome to Racing Unleashed. It is his first appearance. And as he said, his first experience in these wonderful Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022 cars. Let's take a look at some of the replays then from our knockout qualifying session, which as always was terribly entertaining. Here's Ivan Kaufman proving that you can get it very wrong at some of the turns. And then, of course, there is this knock-on effect to a number of other drivers who get caught out by the errant sideways movement of another car, and one of those, brilliant avoidance by Wojciech Polesny initially, and then Wojciech being caught out himself. Loris Mistretta had absolutely nowhere to go. Now, these are some of the situations that are going to be looked at by race control. This is Florian Hassa then, and as you can see here, just a little touch from the rear wing end plate is enough to really, really unbalance the car, and that was an absolute disaster for Florian. So again, that's another one of these things that will be looked at by our race direction team. And there are driver influences in race direction as well, because we're delighted that one of our ambassadors is Carl Wendlinger, former racing star, former champion driver, who sees things from a driver's eye perspective as well. So the race direction team, who are very thorough, and Fabian and myself were talking about this, you will recall earlier on, the integrity of the championship, as there is Mr. Carl Wendlinger. A truly terrific racing driver and a thoroughly nice man as well. We've had many enjoyable conversations with Carl Wendlinger, and these drivers have access to so much data, and so they can look at every camera angle, frame by frame by frame. So you can, and Fabian and I discussed this, you can get away with nothing because the drivers are absolutely scrutinized across everything. And we saw that in the Challenger League yesterday, where even the podium has been changed following a protest that was made within the 12 hours necessary. And this is the reason why, because it's very serious. Big bucks up for grabs, over 200,000 Swiss francs just for today's race. If you win it, and Jesus Cecilia will be thinking about this, he could put £3,500 in his pocket. Not pounds, Swiss francs. Mind you, it's about the same at the moment. Now, I told you about our calendar earlier on, and the second of our UK dates this weekend in Silverstone. Do bear in mind that right at the end of the championship, whoever is crowned champion, it won't all be over, because on December the 11th, both the Challenger League and the Racer League will be racing on a special one-off event
called our Battle for Glory. And it is at a secret track. And I don't know where it is. They won't trust me with the information because they know that I would bring it to you. And in the Battle for Glory alone, look at this. The Challenger League, a grand for P1. In the Racer League, 7,000 Swiss francs for taking P1. Another huge bucket full of money that is incentivizing our drivers to be as successful as they can. Here is the full calendar. We're just over halfway through our season. We're at Silverstone, as you can see. Up next, we go to Spa-Francorchamps, then the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona in September. The Zurich Airport Circuit, which is a wonderful circuit, and then Imola, of course, as the Made in Maranello and Made in Italy simulators get to perform on a home circuit, if you will, at Imola. So, as is always the case, we rely on our fitness ambassador, one Mr. Ralph Muller, to make us all, whether we're racing drivers or TV presenters, fit and fast with a new sequence of exercises. We'll see you in a while. Get fit and fast now.
The bicycle crunch is a very efficient exercise. These work with the flexion of the body and the rotation, and they also support the core. You know already Tabea and Zero. Today we do the bicycle crunch. Lie on your back and bring your hands to your head. Your legs are raised. Your upper and lower legs form a 90-degree angle and your knees are above your hips. Extend one leg long and bring it towards the floor without putting it down. In parallel, rotate your upper body to the opposite side and touch your knee with your elbow. Angle your stretched leg again and repeat the movement on the other side. Come into a flowing movement, like cycling. We do 4 sets, 10 to 15 reps. Let's start. Action. 90-degree, fantastic. Inhale and exhale. 9, 10. Perfect, Tabea. You take a little rest, approximately 1 minute. Open up the window. It's always good to have fresh air. And stretch your leg a little bit more. Yes, that's the one. 9, 10. You guys have some water, please. It's very important also to drink a lot, even if you work out. But hey, we want to be champions. We have to work out like champions, right? Racing Unleashed. Get fit and fast with me.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle. Now we can go racing! Who is going to be king of the late breakers?
¡Wow! ¡Qué adelantamiento!
Speed up the bremses! Michael Speedle is throwing absolutely everything at this, including the kitchen sink.
Tremenda pelea.
Disaster strikes.
Unglaublich.
¡Wow! ¡Qué pelea!
I'm loving this. Look at this. Absolutely brilliant stuff. This is Racing Unleashed.
And here we are with the grid then, and that is P19 Enrique Marino in the car, sat in Madrid. He is ready to go for the start of this race on his own at the back of the pack in this one. P18 Devin Isco, who I think we can grab a word with here in Kemptol. And Devin, are you looking forward to this race? I think we've just got him in now. Devin, are we looking forward to this one?
Hello.
How do you feel for the race?
I'm annoyed from the race before. I hope that there's no big crash in the first corner where I'm involved. I try to make the best out of it, so yes.
Well, good luck.
Merci.
Devin Isco then in P18 and David Ladamada in P17 as well, getting ready to go in this race. He will be absolutely wanted to make some places up after a poor knockout display. Here's Dominik Dedic focusing, as is Christoph Holstein, getting ready to go in the race as well. Eyes closed on Christoph Holstein there. focusing, zoning in on what he needs to do. Javier Lauro, P14. He looks like he's going to be ready to go. And Javier Lauro in the chat with us now. Are you looking forward to this race? What can you do?
I don't know. Let's see what happens today. There are 21 laps to do to overtake guys, and let's see how we do.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, Tornado. Give it everything you've got.
Thanks.
Wojciech Polezny as well, P13, not the qualifying session he would have wanted, but either way, a tough task he's got to do in this race, lining up 13th place on the grid. P12 and P11, Tobias Schmid ready to go and focusing as well, as is Fabio Vertiger. And look at that, he's either asleep or just focusing and zoning on what he's got to do on the track, practicing his race starts over in his mind and thinking of what to do. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, just going over it, just in the zone, in a groove, and really concentrated and calm. Roger Mort in P10 again, another man with his eyes shut, visualising the track and looking forward to the race ahead. P9, Angelo Mikhail. He had a decent qualifying, made up some places at the end, but at 9th place he'll be looking to score some good points in this race and move further forward up the pack. P8 Giant Tufen in P8. What can he do there as he is focusing on them lights and getting ready for the start to this race? And Ivan Kufman in P7. And Ivan, are you looking forward for this one?
Yeah, I'm looking forward for the race, and I hope I can make some places good for the start, yes.
How do you think, what are you expecting to do into turn 1?
Yeah, I first look at a good start, and then, yeah, for a gap go, and when not, then not. Looking backwards, that nobody can overtake me.
Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Merci.
P7 and P8 there getting ready for the race. P6, Lars Bolmer on his first appearance here at Racing Unleashed, a debutant, and he is ready to go, as well as Mark Gasner in P5, and he is a determined man. Can he get on the podium? He is not far off it, and just a couple of places to make early and head down in the rest of the race. It will be interesting to watch him. Kevin B as well in P4, and we have Kevin as well. Kevin, what are you looking to do at the start of this race? Believe we can't quite hear from Kevin at the moment. There's a smile on his face. I don't think we can hear from Kevin at this moment in time. Kevin, are you there? No. I think Kevin's too focused on what he's got ahead of him to talk in this race. P3, Michael Schmiedel as well from Sebastian Hirsch, P2, and Coque Lopez in P1, the green cockpits at Madrid and Munich for P1 and P2. And for Coque Lopez, what can he do? The pole sitter, can he take the race win as well? It's going to be tough to keep Schmiedel behind him, but I'm sure he will give it, these drivers will both give it everything they've got going in to the race then. So that is your grid. That is the way they line up in this one. And the drivers focused. Hopefully those with their eyes shut have got them open. The fast facts then, here we go. Autodromo del Mugello then is the circuit for today, and it is a fantastic fast flowing circuit. 5.245 kilometres, 6 to the left and 9 to the right. That's what the drivers have got to face here. 665 metres from pole position to turn 1. Who will lead going into that corner? 3 corners to pinpoint. This was what happened though in the 2021 season. The ride of your screen, the leader 12 seconds up the road. Christian Lauro, I believe it was, or Christoph Lauro, sorry, not quite sure. But either way, he came through the final corner, battled to the left-hand side of the screen for 5th place as well. Epic race this was last time around. And a victory, dominant display from Christoph Holmström, who took the win in the Racer League last year. The fast facts then. 3 corners, turn 3, watch out for this one. Luco and Poggio Secco. This is where a lot of drama can happen. If you get the run out of 1 and 2, you can make the move at 3, but have to make it stick. The Arrabbiatas coming up, Arrabbiata 1 and Arrabbiata 2. And if you mess the first one up, there's a good chance you're going to make the second one a horrible run through as well. And then how's your luck? How's your late braking down into the hairpin? If you can get a sniff to go up the inside, take the opportunity, because it could set you up for the fast section into the final corner.
So of course I will try to defend the first position, so then it doesn't happen like last year, because I was also starting on pole in this race in this track, and I got hit by the guy behind. So my target this time is not to have any incidents and try to have a clean race and hopefully have a good pace, which is enough for fighting for the victory.
And there was your pole sitter as well. And let's go back to the glory days. Mugello, owned by the Scuderia Ferrari themselves, as we keep fighting for Michael, as we hope he makes a great road to recovery, and him and his family the best wishes as well. But the Ferrari Scuderia, Ross Brawn, Rubens Barrichello, Michael Schumacher, remember those days? How this season could turn out just as good for them. There was your fast facts as we go into the race, and we are on the grid and ready to go. We are about a minute away from the start of this race, and the drivers are now just last minute focusing on the grid. We're all lined up and ready to go here at Racing Unleashed, where we're going beyond the Pinnacle for 2022. Who's going to get the best start? What's going to happen with the championship contenders? And who will come away victor in this race? We're about to find out momentarily. 30 seconds away from lights out here at Mugello. A great atmosphere here at Cantal in the racing lounges, and I'm sure a great atmosphere in Charm and Munich and Madrid as well, as family, friends and colleagues will be watching the drivers very closely. And we are about to get underway. 15 seconds away from lights out. And here we have such a fascinating day for you ahead. 21 laps of this Autodromo Mugello circuit. And we are about to see the lights. We're about to go racing here. The revs starting to rise. No lights yet. They're being held a while here. The lights appear now. The revs are rising. They're being held for an extremely long time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Green and go after being held at the line for a while, and it's a great start from Lopez in P1, who gets a mighty launch off the line, and they head down to turn 1. He's already on the defensive, going left and going right, and that is Mikhail Schmiedl in the middle of both P1 and 2 and makes his way into second place at turn 1. So a great start from your championship leader, who's trying to get through the pack and into the lead as quick as possible. Company has made a mistake and he's off at turn 2, and a crucial moment for him. He's got to regroup and get back on track as quickly and cleanly as possible. There is Schmiedl already into second place, and a determined grin and smirk on his face as he hunts down the race leader and pole sitter in this one. Angelo Mikhail up the inside of Abbey, and that is job done from him. P5 at the moment. Lauro's up to 10th as well so far. So a great start from these boys. There is Angelo Mikhail just gaining an extra position, hard on the brakes, and you see the car in the rear mirror just gaining ever so closer. Mark Gassner then P4 at the minute. He's trying to put Sebastian Hirsch under some pressure as they come to the end of the lap. Schmiedl and Lopez still out front and within touching distance for Hirsch and for Gassner here, and they will never say die and will not give up in this race. This is only the first lap. 21 still to come your way. Roger Mart at the minute down in P8 so far, looking to find a way past Tufen. Down the start straight. This is where the slipstream can really take effect. Here's Dominic Dedic back onto Roger Mart, and you just see in that slipstream now, focused and determined and gaining. Looks to the outside at turn 1. Who's the best of the late breakers going into the first corner? As we go to Koke, Lopez and Schmiedl round the outside and into 2, takes the lead, and your championship leader is already in the lead come the start of lap 2, and now he can sail off into the sunset as Hirsch is gaining on the back of Lopez, and he's taking Gassner with him as well. Here is Sebastian Hirsch right on the back of Lopez, P3 at the moment. He's got 4th all over the back of him. Holstein down in 10th place. He's looking to head down and gain on Lauro, with David Lademotta already making places up to P11. He is flying. Fabio Verta has got Dominic Dedic on the back of him, and he's looking to make up so many places in this race, top 10 score points. So that is where every driver is going to want to be. Dominic Dedic show 13th, and look at this train of cars all behind each other, one a bit wide in the background, and Dedic here now really focused and determined. He see the points, he can smell the points. Look at the concentration on his face, the dirty air from the car in front. Does he have a look? He goes to the outside. Is he going to make this one stick? This will be a brave move, and sensibly backs out of that one, tries to hook underneath, and does he get a run out of the final corner? I think he does, as Mikhail Schmiedl takes the fastest lap of this race, and Dominic Dedic had a run. Lauro on board, they're three abreast down the start straight. Look at Lauro here, he's trying to make a move on Mart, and that's the job done on Roger Mart, and that is another place. But Lauro to the outside, can he keep it round the outside? Really good driving from these two into two, and Lauro gets the place. Dedic did get past Marinon for a moment there. As we look to the left, there is Dominic Dedic in his battle. He's off. Oh, in a collision with another car. Mistake himself from Dominic Dedic, and off and round he goes, and he's got a lot of work to do to recover them places. Gazner on the left hand side of screen, now in the middle of the pack in P10, the end of the points, and on the back of Christopher Holstein as he tries to make up some more places. Here is Gazner on board him, you see him in the cockpit. Wojciech Polezny, not the start to the race he's wanted. He's down in 13th place, podium last week, and not the momentum through the pack this week. He is got to make up some ground somewhere, and Polezny here then, can he make his way past a few of the cars? There's a whole train of them at this midfield point of the circuit towards the back end, but if you're Mikhail Schmiedl, 1.5 seconds is the gap out front. Holstein now excuse me, Holstein trying to get on the back of Mort and use that slipstream down the straight. Mikhail Schmiedl, a fastest lap of a 1:20.2, and he's now 1.6 clear in front at the moment. But here comes Holstein on Roger Mort into turn one, has a look at the send it but can't get it done, and backs out of that one. In fact, that wasn't him, that was Gazner behind who looked to send it on Holstein, but no can do from there. Holstein holding stations at this moment in time in this race. Lap 4 of 21 we're on now, and what a job these drivers are doing, especially if you're the front three, just starting to put a gap over the other cars. Angelo Mikhail staying with P3, and here's Enrique Marino, needs to come through the pack here, needs to get up and make places, currently sitting in P12, needs to clear the traffic because his championship rival Mikhail Schmiedl leads once again. Javier Lauro now on the back of Glenn Tufin, and can he find a way past? Down towards the hairpin they come, as they're going to look to get a good run through this part and the next, where you're flat through both the chicane into the final corner. Flat through here towards the final corner. That run through there is so important into that final corner. Angelo Mikhail now, good run through the final corner, and he could be looking at an almighty slipstream down the straight over Sebastian Hirsch, and here he comes. Can he get that pull from the car in front to bring him closer? There is on board Angelo Mikhail at the moment, and he's getting a little bit closer but not close enough. How late dare he brake? And look at the closing speed that Mikhail has got. Lauro's got past Tufin on the timing screens, and Marinon has got past Polezny. Tufin back ahead of Lauro, and battles going on down the track. Here is Javier Lauro with Gian Tufin just in front. A lot of places here, a lot of places being exchanged, ebbing and flowing on the circuit at the moment, and there's a gaggle of cars all together. Javier Lauro here is trying to get on the back of Tufin and get him into the Arabiatas. You need a good clean run through here, and you don't want to be in the dirty air for too long. The car will become unsettled through these corners, and you see each driver using all the runoff as possible. Mark Gazner here, he's also trying to stay on the back of this pack, and he has got Holstein, I think it is. Yep, Holstein just in front of him for 9th place. Gazner in 10th place at the minute and is in the final place for the points. On board Holstein then. And look at the determination. He's patiently waiting. Lap 5 of 21 to the final corner. They all come now. And it's who can get the best run through here to get a slipstream down the straight. Schmiedl pumping in fastest lap after fastest lap. Here is Hirsch on the back of Lopez with Angelo Mikhail just behind him and using that slipstream. And is he going to send one into turn one? He has a huge look, but thinks better of it and realises that he's not going to make it. He's too far back from there to get the job done. Gazner seeing that Mort and Holstein are side by side, and I think Holstein has got past Mort there. Yes, he has, so job done for Holstein. He can now progress on and chase down Javier Lauro. For Roger Mort, his job is not over at this moment in time. He has got Mort Gasner and David Ladamada catching on the back of him, and there you see in that rear mirror of his at the top of the screen, he will be looking at that, just cautiously placing his car where it needs to be placed, using a lot of runoff through the Arabiatas, and maybe just through the first one getting it a little wrong. Who's that up front in front of Lauro? I think that's Tufan, who looked a little slow through that section there. Did he have a mistake through the Arabiatas there? But Tufan out the minute, now under pressure. And David Ladamada is really trying to fly through this pack. Wojciech Plezny and Enrique Marino aren't coming to put the fight to Mikhail Schmiedl. That'll put an even bigger smile on his face, who's got a 4-second gap out front and laps at another 1 minute 20. Here though, Angelo Mikhail, he had a look last time. He's coming down into Tier 1. Does he think about sending it now? No, bit closer, and he's made Hirsch think about it. Lauro defending at Tufo, defending from Lauro. Lauro trying to go right around the outside, and that is a great manoeuvre from Javier Lauro. Angelo Mikhail on the right hand side of your screen, still trying to hunt down Hirsch in third place. David Ladamada now P11 on the back of Mort Gasner for P10, the final points position, and Lauro now can push away and head after Kevin Abbey on the left hand side of your screen. Sebastian Hirsch now has Angelo Mikhail right on the back of him, and if Mikhail gets any closer, he's got to think of lunging up the inside. He's got to have a look and take an opportunity to get on this podium. Hirsch then 1.5 seconds off the back of Lopez in this race so far. On board Angelo Mikhail, and you can see Lopez in P2 up the road. He can see Sebastian Hirsch in third place right in front of him, and he's going to have a look on the rear view of Hirsch then. All about the run through this final corner, and you just get the feeling, you get the sense that Mikhail is got to send it at some point. Lap 8 of 21, these drivers are about to start. Schmiedl out front is absolutely gone. He's left these guys for dust. And now Angelo getting closer, but still not close enough to look up the inside and make the move stick. Here's Holstein though. He's under pressure from he's trying to go around the outside of Tufan, and Tufan just dropping back here, and Holstein right around the outside. Hold your inside line for turn 2. Great move done, and he will be pleased and chuffed to bits with that one. Mort Gasner, left-hand side of your screen, still sitting in that top 10, but David Ladamada is coming at him here, and he's wanting to make this stick and work for him as he's coming through this section of the track in towards the Arabiatas now. Gets it perfectly right through there. And Gasner here really trying to attack Mort while defending from Ladamada, as he's really putting the pressure on in this race. Lap 8 of 21. And for Gasner, really flying here down the start straight. Mikhail Schmiedl 5.5 seconds in the lead, lapping low 1 minute 20s. Every single lap he's pumping in is fantastically consistent, and he has just gone at the opener here in this race. I've lost sound my end. Hopefully we can get that back. Hope you guys can still hear the sound as well. But at the minute, Sebastian Hirsch then at P3. Mikhail now all over the back of him, and is a lot closer than he's been for a while. And is he going to now look to put the pressure on? But here's Mort looking to get the defend from Gasner, and Gasner up the inside at turn 3. It's tooth and nail. Look at this, they touch a little bit there, wheel to wheel action, and Mort trying to hold on from Gasner, who has to back out of it. And David Ladamada now is really in the party. He's here to play. He's lost it. He spins round into the wall, and that could be the end of his points opportunity for David Ladamada. Frustration for him, no doubt, but promoting a lot of drivers. Kaufman, Plezny, Marinon still down in 15th place. He is still struggling. There is Dominic Dedic. Angelo Mikhail at this moment pushing hard and working hard to get this place back. On board now with Angelo Mikhail. as he's coming up to this final part of the track, the starts finish straight. He's in the slipstream now. He's closer. He can see the car pulling in. It's getting closer. It's getting bigger. Is he going to pull to the right and have a look up the inside? Thinks of a send-it maneuver, does he? Up the inside he goes, and that on the curb, a little bit of a touch on the wheel, and Hirsch gives him plenty of room, and that is job done. Here comes Devin Iskro up the inside of Kaufman as well, or is that Polesny? I do believe down in, no, it is Kaufman just in front of him. Can't get the move done at turn 1, but for Angelo Mikhail up the inside, and he has got that one put to bed and is now on the back and on the look to hunt down on Lopez. Devin Iskro then, Polesny right behind, Kaufman just in front. What can he do with this race at this moment in time? As the drivers just coming through and are looking to make some extra places in this race. Schmiedel, though, out front has absolutely gone. Here is Javier Lauro. And what can he do in this one? Right on the back now of Kevin Abbey. And is really starting to put the pressure on. Holstein coming with him as well for 5th, 6th and 7th this is. And he's really on the back, putting the pressure on and really trying to determine where he can make a move and how he can make the move. Here is Holstein, can see the two cars in front, and Lauro getting the benefits of the slipstream here, pulls to the outside. Great defensive drive at the minute from Hirsch, forcing Lauro to go right around the outside, and what a job that is there. I'm sure he'll be grateful of that one. And easy done. Gasner now on the back of Mort once again, lap 11 of 21, looking up the inside into 2. They rub wheels a little bit, giving each other so much respect. And did Gasner just close the door on Mott a little bit, and Mott taps him round. They both go into the gravel, and you have to say Gasner looked like he shut the door there. And losing placements, Kaufman now into the points, as is David Iskro as well. Polesny just outside of them, and Enrique Marino in P12 now, but it's still not enough for Marino. And in this championship he's going to lose out massively to Schmiedel and to Angelo Mikhail. Christoph Holstein here, right on the back once again of Javier Lauro. No, of Kevin Abbey, sorry. Lauro got past at turn 1 last lap. Kevin Abbey now trying to hold on from Christoph Holstein. Wojciech Polesny on the back of Devin Iskro for the final point scoring position. And this will pull some points over Enrique Marino in that championship. There is Polesny. Just look at that determination to get into the slipstream, get the run out the final corner, use that slipstream, and here he comes. Iskro's got to defend. He's got to defend early. The speed that Polesny's got, Holstein round the outside of a B, and that is job done as well. And Polesny has passed Iskro. He's gone deep though at turn 1. Look at that. He does all the hard work and goes too deep at turn 1. Locks up, runs so wide. And back down to P11. Easy as you like. Iskro takes that one back. It's like taking candy from a baby, he says. As Marino trying to get on the back of these boys now and really work hard. Devin Iskro there. A little smile on his face. He knew that one was easy pickings for him. And can once again make his way forward up the rest of the field. Through the Arabiatas he goes into the middle part of the lap, and there's looking back from Devin Iskro at Polesny, and on the back of Polesny now is Marino. And you have to say that Marino will be wanting to get a move on here. He wants to get into the points, lap 12 of 21. Schmiedel, I think, must have made a mistake last time this lap or something. His gap's come down to 2.5 seconds, 1 minute 20.3, so still good pace from Schmiedel. Angelo Mikhail and Sebastian Hirsch putting in their fastest laps of the race. But here, though, is Iskro with Polesny all over the back of him. It's round 2. It's another rematch of this epic battle that we saw on the last lap. And Polesny, right round the outside, tries to chop the nose of Devin Iskro off, but sticking his nose up the inside, keeping it there. Polesny right round the outside. Job done, and into the points for Wojciech Polesny. And he can now start to make a move to catch the car in front. Gasner, 16th place after an earlier problem. He's now looking on the back of Mort, who's really dropped down the standings here. And Gasner then trying to fight his way back through. Here is Wojciech Polesny. And in the background, Iskro's got Marino right up the back of him. And you feel that Plunge now has got the bit between his teeth, and he's going to absolutely put his head down and go flat out to gain on Ivan Kaufman in P9. Still a long time left in this race, lap 13 of 21. And here is Enrique Marino trying to put the pressure on Devin Iskro. There is Marino, just talking to himself, just making himself fully aware of what he's got to do. Needs the run through this final corner. And now into that slipstream. Enrique Marino closing, but how close can he get? Will he pull out and have a look? He's going to be sent to the outside, but can Marino go right around the outside? No, he can't. Iskro keeping it side by side. Marino will have the inside corner for turn 2. Looks like he can get the job done, and contact made between the two of them. And round goes Enrique Marino. And that is the end of his points position. You feel there he's not going to get that one back. Promoting Dedic up to P12. And for Fabio Vertinger into P11. And here is Gian Tufan, P8, on the back of Kevin Abbey. Just looking to make a move. Where does he think of using his opportunity, using that extra speed in the car, in the slipstream? Has such a great chance today to get this job done. Tufan here, absolutely flying. The lead out front, Schmiedel 3.5 seconds out front. He has again just pulled away. Lopez doing his best lap on that last lap, but it still is 6/10 slower than Mikhail Schmiedel. Tufan though in that slipstream now of a B, and was 4/10 quicker on that last lap alone. He said his best lap on the last lap, and he's closing. How good is he on the brakes? Not good enough, because he just patiently waiting behind a B then. And he has work to do once again, still using all that runoff you see there. Lap 15 of 21, we're coming to the end of what has been a fantastic race, a league race here. And Mikhail Schmiedel will once again be full of smiles and be absolutely chuffed to bits with the way he's drove. Here's Tufan then. Kaufman on the back of him. And he's got Wojciech Plunge trying to close that gap. So the more that Abbey has these two fighting behind him, he can pull away. And Plunge can maybe start to put the pressure on. There is Plunge. There's the trio of Abbey, Tufan and Kaufman. As what has happened to Gasner further down the order, Marino and Ladamada have got past for P15 and 16 there. So another couple of places gained for them too. You still feel that their task for points though is too hard in this race. Tufan now though, 0.4 of a second, didn't get the greatest of runs through that final corner, and Tufan now is more under pressure from Kaufman than he is from Abbey. And you see from behind the rear wing of Tufan there, Kaufman closing, looks to the inside, looks to the outside, does the old switcheroo, can he tuck underneath? No, he can't, as Tufan there, brilliant driving from him, great defensive lines, and manages to hold on for P8 at the moment. This will help Abbey just pull away a little bit unless he makes a mistake, but also it'll help Plunge get onto the back here for maybe a few more points in the end of this race. Tufan looking for P7, Kaufman looking for P8 and maybe P7 in this one. Fantastic driving. There is Ivan Kaufman looking on the back of Gian Tufan then. Determined to try and get past, trying to get as good a run as possible. Tufan this lap though has closed that gap a couple of tenths to Abbey out front, but goes a little deep at the hairpin, and he say he got a late apex hit, but he's missed the apex completely. And Kaufman there just having a look up the inside, just pretty much letting him know that he's there. Backing out sensibly, looking for that run through the final corner. Kaufman is a lot closer to Tufan this time around, and it's all about the exit of this corner. It wasn't the best exit for Kaufman there, and they're all in the slipstream. It's a bit of a slipstream train here. Holstein does the fastest lap of the race from P6, a 1 minute 20.041, and here comes Tufan. Does he look to send it up the inside? Has a little look, but is too far back. And for Kaufman, you get the feel that he's really going to pounce on this opportunity, can maybe make 2 places. Look in the background though, Wojciech Polezny is now to 1.3 off the back of this trio and is coming fast. On the back of a B, you see Tufan and Kaufmann really starting to get close to each other. A B better through the first sector. And who's that? Is that... it's not Holstein. We've just changed to Tufan, that's why. It was a B going through the first sector. Marinon getting past Mort a little further down. That promotes him up another place. In fact, Marinon, he's just lost out 2 places. He's lost out to Ladamada, Gazna and Morts. Was Marinon, look, he's on the grass once again, look. So another mistake as Tufan here goes to the outside of a B into the quick right-left section. And what a manoeuvre, gets the job done. Polezny's now on the back of this quartet as well. And a B looking to come back at Tufan. All about the run out the final corner. And a B doesn't look like he's got a great one. He's already side by side with Kaufmann here. And they're coming down the start straight. Polezny, look at the right-hand side of your screen. As Javier Lauro looks up the inside of Sebastian Hirsch. Can he get it done? Can he hold it around the outside? To the left, they tap wheels on the left-hand side, and Polezny looks like he could make 2 places here. And Lauro still trying to find his way past. Gets through, though, and up into P4 as Hirsch drops down to 5th place once again. Left-hand side of your screen. In fact, we're seeing the same battle on both sides of the screen now, from Hirsch's point of view and from Lauro's point of view. Lauro is checking out for Hirsch. He's got Holstein on the back of him. Christoph Holstein really now trying to get that 6th place, and Hirsch is just dropping places back in this race. But Polezny up to 8th place now in this one, so a great job at the line. Hirsch now then really trying to get on the back of Lauro once again to reclaim that 4th place, but he just looks like he's running out of steam at this moment in time. Coming late into this race, Schmiedel's coming through the final corner, and we'll start that lap 19 momentarily. Christoph Holstein then. P6, he'll want that P5. He'll want to get off the back of Hirsch and on the back of Javier Lauro. Absolutely flying is Lauro in this one, and he hunts down Mikhail, 3.5 seconds behind Mikhail, and was a lot slower last time round. And look at that, Holstein over a second quicker than Hirsch last time around, and Holstein's gone up the inside, and that is a great manoeuvre for P5. And you just feel for Sebastian Hirsch here. He's just running out of steam and he's losing that momentum, and it's gone from P3 to P6. The later this race has gone on, the more his pace seems to be dropping off. And Kaufmann is in the pit lane here, it's saying on my screen. He's coming into the pits. So what has happened there for him? Was running so well and he's now dropping down the standings. And he's out the points. Dominik Dedic now in the points. He's out this race. Ivan Kaufmann out the race and out the cockpit as well. I wonder what has happened there. Marinon down in 18th place now. So what has happened to him once again? But Dedic now into the points. Hirsch, P6, still trying to look on the back of Holstein, but he's just losing time every single part of this lap that goes on. He's losing more and more time to Hirsch, to Holstein in front. Luckily, though, for him, Gian Tufan behind is 6 seconds behind, so he won't really be a problem as Lopez puts in his fastest lap of the race. In fact, look at that, Holstein up into P5 ahead of Hirsch, pumps in the quickest lap of the race, a 1:20.037. So he is flying, wants to gain on the back of Lauro. How much quicker over Lauro was he last lap? Only a 10th in it, so he's making up a bit of time. But with 2 laps to go, this man, 5.5 second lead. Mikhail Schmiedel looks like he's on his way to another win, and with Marinon not scoring any points and in this race at all, he's going to extend his championship lead over his closest rival. Koke Lopez, your pole sitter, 2nd place, but has Angelo Mikhail on the back of him, hunting down for a 2nd place with 1 and a bit laps to go. And Mikhail will want this place. These extra points that he's scoring over Marinon, who's not going to score a single point today, will help him in this championship. Lauro has Holstein 9/10 of a second on the back of him. Holstein has to make ground up at the rest of this lap, and then has 1 lap left after this to really have a go. Lopez within 9/10 of a second. Mikhail within 9/10 of a second of Lopez here. And we start the final lap of the race, and Mikhail Schmiedel absolutely flying in this one. Has left the pack here. And for Sebastian Hirsch, your heart has to go out for him. He's just dropped off so much the longer this race has gone on. Tufan too far back. He's got to be careful though, because Polesny's still within touching distance. One mistake and you sense that Polesny could get through. But what happened to Kaufman to cause him to get out the cockpit and retire from this race? Devin Iskro up to P11 ahead of David Ladamara. And it looks like there will not be many changes of position, and Polesny there really pushing the car, just running a little wide. And we come to the end of this race nearly, and Polesny's trying to throw everything at this one. He's giving it his absolutely all. His foot is flat to the floor as he's trying to catch, but this man has had a dominant race, P3 to P1 in 2 laps, and what a job he has done to just pull away from the rest of the pack. Mikkel Schmiedl, take your hat off and give him a bow, a round of applause, because he wins yet again here at Racing Unleashed, and a very, very happy man. High fives all around, and the tap of the cockpit as we come to see. Very, very pleased with that race. Second place then for Coque Lopez, and Angelo Mikhail crossed the lines third. Javier Lauro P4 from Christoph Holstein fifth. Sebastian Hirsch down in P6 with in fact Lauro on my timing screen. Who's asked Lopez? Oh no, it's okay, he's finished the race, he's just come round on his cool down lap. Gian Tufan P7. It's saying Javier Lauro's dropped to P6 on my timing screen. I'm not sure if that's correct, but this results are preliminary anyway. The final results will be brought to you later on. And he looks exhausted, looks absolutely chuffed to bits. Someone fetch that man a bottle of water, because he looks like he needs a drink. P3 in that race, you had to make some overtakes, but a good race nonetheless.
Yeah. It was at the beginning of the race. I was not thinking about that. The first lap is going so good. I was overtaking, I think, 2 or 3 cars into the first couple of corners, and was after 4 corners on P6. And I was thinking, okay, now I have some clear gap behind, so I can focus on myself to get in front. Mark spun out in the next lap, so I was on P5 and made the next charge. And I don't know, it was such a good race. I was really trying at the end to get Lopez. Nearly lost it out there because I was so hard pushing to get him, because I wanted the second place so bad. But at the end, I was in the last 2 laps. I was okay. It's give up, drive safe, the second place, the third place home, and be happy about it. I saw this Marañón is not in the top 6. I don't know where he finished, but I think I got the second place now in the championship, which would be absolutely fantastic for me. That is my goal for this race. This was my goal for the race, and I hope I achieved it. So, beautiful weekend.
Very good race from yourself. And we got Coque Lopez in with us now, and we spoke to you earlier about the pole position. You turned it into a P2, and that seemed as good as you could do today, because Schmiedl just had too much pace.
Yes, you just said that Schmiedl had too much pace. I saw from the very beginning that he was all the time close to me, so I tried to defend a little, but also not become crazy defending a lot, because I knew my goal of this race was probably gonna be getting the P2. And in the end it was like that. I could keep a decent pace, and I'm so happy about this second place, because also I didn't train as much as I would like, but still the pace was more or less there.
Like you say, the pace was more or less there. Kind of a race that when Schmiedl got past you was kind of on your own, and just again similar to the knockout qualifying, it was about consistency and making sure you didn't make any mistakes.
Yeah, it was basically the same actually, because even the gaps I had with the guy behind were pretty similar. And also, both of them in the knockout and in the actual race, they were making the gap shorter, closing the gap. But in the end, in the last 2-3 laps, I could make a step to keep the gap like that and not letting him close it.
And again, on the podium for P2, fantastic job from yourself. You must be pleased with it.
Thank you.
We have him here now, and here he is, Mikkel Schmiedl, your race winner. That was a very, very good job from yourself.
Yeah, it was a good job from my side. Obviously,
I had quite a crucial weekend because I had to do an online race yesterday at my home. So I was traveling twice to Munich and then back again. But it was a great race for me. Obviously, I did quite well in a knockout, so that was a good start for Sunday. And then I just went round the outside of Lopez, and that was it.
You got the job done relatively early in the race. Second lap, you took the lead. You didn't really look back from there, neither did you? It was job done and pull away.
Yeah, it was job done, but as I said, I had a difficult weekend, so I did one mistake at the exit from turn 2. The game itself was lagging as well, but I feel like I lost the concentration in that lap. So I just need to be more relaxed next time and have more energy to it.
Enrique Marino not scoring any points at the moment, and Angelo Mikhail getting P3 means you extend your championship lead at the moment. That's got to be another thing to be happy about.
Well, to be honest, I'm not looking on the others. I'm just doing my job, and to be honest, I don't care.
Well done on this race this weekend, and look forward to seeing you at Brands Hatch.
Thank you. Bye.
So Wojciech Plunge just turning in and making a little bit of contact. Both cars kind of turning away and in. Mikhail Schmiedl then had the job done as easy as you like. Round the outside and look at just that mid-corner speed. Thank you, mother, for the carrots, he was saying. Job done. Dominik Dedic through the middle and on the brakes. Up the inside, around the outside of one and up the inside of another. 3-1 normally doesn't work, but for Dominik Dedic here, he seemed to gain a place at least before losing it on the curb, and a huge impact. Plunge then went up the inside, and you can just see patiently waiting, but a bit of contact spinning a driver and himself around. But if you look at that, the other driver managing to point him in the right way and him going off again. Gazna being tapped round there, but you just feel that he maybe closed the door on Roger Mart a little bit. Just here, look. Just seems to not give Mart enough space, and that makes a bit of contact between the two. Gazna late on the brakes up the inside. They just touch wheels a little bit. Plenty of room and respect for both drivers there, and through 2, and you come into 3, and that is hats off to both of them drivers. And look at that round the outside, a bit of bumping as they go. Devin Eastro had a car lose it on the curb in front of him, and he was left with nowhere to go. A bit of contact before. Didn't lose it on the curb. Look, tap on the rear from Devin Eastro, just turning in on him as Roger Mart tried to go up the inside. Hits the curb hard, and a bit of contact made there on the rear wheel as well, as they both come together. Before this man, Mikhail Schmiedl, took another race win, and he was very delighted with that. A very happy man. And high fives all around, and his famous tap on the cockpit as well. And here he is, look. The high fives, the fist pump, the tap on the cockpit. He was a very happy man in this race. And this is how it stands. Mikhail Schmiedl, P1 yet again, and he'll be chuffed to bits with that. Koke Lopez in P2 from Hit the Pole Sitter on the grid. And Angelo Mikhail in 3rd place, and I'm sure he'll be delighted with that one, as that could put him into P2 in the championship. There then, the podium at Munich. As we say, oh, steady, on you get. As Angelo Mikhail then will receive his trophy for 3rd place, and a high five there. And he lifts it aloft, and a thumbs up from everybody in Munich. And we head to Madrid, where we should see Koke Lopez. There he is. And another happy man, another smile on his face. P1 on the grid to P2 overall at the end of the day. And a nice trophy for him to take home and put on his shelf. Smiles all around there. A tired man nonetheless. A high five between the two. And up to the top step he comes. He's going to get used to being up that high in a moment. High fives again, and another trophy for Mikhail Schmiedl, who takes that 1st place. And what a job for him here at Mugello. Another race win and more championship points in the bag. And your final results then here at Mugello. Michael Schmiedel, Koke Lopez and Angelo Mikhail keep the top three. Kevin Abai and Wojciech Polezny with penalties, dropping them down the order to 9th and 10th place. And the second half of the screen, a DNF for Ivan Kaufmann, brake problems, Tobias Schmidt, Roger Mott, Fabio Vertinger, Devin Erskine and Mark Gassner with penalties as well. And that is your final classification. Mikhail Schmiedel then tops the rankings ahead of Angelo Mikhail and Javier Lauro. Wojciech Polezny and Enrique Marino dropping down the standings. And rounding out the bottom half of the table, you see there, still no points for Alpringer and Davina Braun.
Hi, my name is Ralph Möller. I'm the Chief Fitness Officer of Racing Unleashed. For esports, sim racing, physical and mental fitness is important. 30 to 60 minutes of exercises per day are important for your success. Use your bike instead of your car, or just take a walk. There are no excuses. Running, cycling, swimming or gym. Just keep it going. So get fit and fast with a Gladiator. Racing Unleashed. See you soon.
This is not only a racing simulator.
No,
this is a simulator
Thank you so much for asking.
100% Formula One feeling.
And what we do here is we create a new kind of motorsport, a motorsport 4.0, by bringing the analog world together with the virtual world. So this goes for us into the future and beyond the pinnacle.
This is Racing Unleashed, Beyond the Pinnacle.
Made of carbon, it moves over 3 axes and lets you feel every bump, curb and curve on your ride. The belts press you into the seat when you brake and accelerate. You get the G-forces up close. Real brake and accelerator pedals, as well as an original Formula One steering wheel, complete the driving experience. Driving in this simulator is a real motorsport experience, as if you were really driving on the racetrack. And not just alone, but in a team with friends, or even connected worldwide in real time as a tough competition. Apply, take part and win if you dare.
Okay, so Racing Unleashed have 3 different leagues conveniently indicated by the various modes on the driver select switch right here. So we'll start with number 1, which is known as the Fun League. This effectively takes place all in a given lounge. So you and your friends can come down here and enjoy racing each other in your own environment. One would suggest as well it's a pretty friendly, fun driving mode and you don't have to worry about too much. And then we're going to flick up to driver mode number 2. Now this is Challenger League. So Challenger League is stepping things up a notch, and this is where you can actually start to win real money. It's pretty crazy. For first place, you can win around about 300 euros, which in itself is incredible. Now you graduate to Racer League, which is up here indicated by number 4, and this is where things get pretty serious. You can win up to 3,000 euros for coming first place, which is bonkers. So don't be afraid to take part. It may look complicated, but take it from me, when you get behind the wheel, it's an incredible event.
With different racing leagues, professional stewarding, and a global broadcast, the Racing Unleashed competition is way more than just a game. It is the future of motorsports.
We want to be a global sport. We want to have lounges all over the world. So I do expect some more lounges, hopefully also outside Europe, coming up this year.
Ralph Möller, he's our brand ambassador and he's our influencer. Esports is sport. You need to be trained, you need to exercise to be fit and fast in the simulators if you want to do it properly. And this is the reason why we set up this program.
30 to 60 minutes of exercises per day are important for your success. Use your bike instead of your car, or just take a walk. There are no excuses. Running, cycling, swimming or gym. Just keep it going. So get fit and fast with a Gladiator. Racing Unleashed. See you soon.
Mark Gassner in Munich, he's going from P4. And Roger Marte then in Kemptal, who I spoke to off the air just a few moments ago, is going from P3. A really good qualifying performance from Roger Marte here in Kemptal, and he'll be hoping to capitalise on that. And Yannick Vonneberg, well, he is on the front row of the grid. It's P2, but the delight you could see just a few moments ago from Lorenzo Hayder, then up from the Challenger League into the Racer League for this weekend, and he goes from pole position, P1 for Lorenzo Hayder. Will he disappear up the road as he did in qualifying? Hold on to your hats. Oh, held for a long time on the lights. Oh, and a disaster for Roger Marte. He jumped the start. There's no question about that. That means Lorenzo Hayder is pushed back to P2. He was trying to anticipate the start was Roger Marte and just got it wrong. So here is Lorenzo Hayder, P2, but pretty sure it'll be P1 because Roger Marte undoubtedly anticipated the start. Here comes the crash that we feared might happen. This could be it. Alejandro Sanchez then, if he can try and get to the inside line of this start-finish straight here. But look at Lorenzo Hayder. He virtually welds the car to the wall. Now Alejandro Sanchez tries to sell a dummy. And Lorenzo Hayder is wise to it. He makes the car wide. Alejandro Sanchez tries to go all the way around the outside at Druids. That's going to be a big ask, but it would give him the inside for the next turn. And wow, brilliant defensive driving from Lorenzo Hayder, but he runs a bit wide. They go side by side. But still, Lorenzo Hayder is not prepared to give up. He gets sideways. That plays into the hands of Alejandro Sanchez and also Mark Gasner. Here is Lorenzo Hayder now. So deserves a podium. However, he has got the championship leader right up his trumpet. Alejandro Sanchez takes the win. It's P1 for Alejandro Sanchez on his return. It's P2 for Mark Gasner. But running to the line now, Lorenzo Hayder. It's almost a photo finish between Hayder and Mikhail Smeedel. But I think Hayder just shaded it. In Madrid, Alejandro Sanchez stands by to receive yet another race winner's trophy. Well done, Alejandro Sanchez.
Accessible, sustainable, and safe. Welcome to Racing Unleashed. Beyond the Pinnacle.
Absolutely beyond the pinnacle. With me for the program today is Fabian Vettel. It's the Dave and Fabian show, just for a little while. Now, we saw, just before we were taking a look at all those fantastic films from our appearance at Brands Hatch, we saw, of course, the knockout qualifying. And during the knockout qualifying, Fabian, that is controlled by race control just as diligently as a race would be. And there are certain rules. And given to understand that we're hearing that someone may have fallen foul of a penalty during that knockout qualifying, Fabian.
Yeah, exactly. We saw in the beginning, in the first opening laps, that one driver just made, let's say, weird movements on the brakes, and that's a point that is not allowed during safety car laps and stuff like that. So that's why there was infringement, and race control made the decision to speak out the penalty.
Yes, and I think it's Wojciech Polesny who has suffered that penalty. Let's take a look, Fabian, and we can see in clear terms why that penalty was awarded then. And as I say, it affects Wojciech Polesny. Now, it would be wrong of me to suggest that potentially Wojciech was trying to hold the cars back, but we will see in just a moment. Now, this is the way it looks now following, because it was Gizu Cecilia, Sebastian Hirsch, Enrique Marino, then Christoph Holstein and Angelo Mikhail ahead of Javier Lauro. And there you can see Wojciech Polesny with his countryman Mikhail Smeedel ahead of Alejandro Sanchez and Fabio Vettiga. So they occupy the first 5 rows of the grid now in this penalty applied grid that we will see with Devin Iskro, Yannick Vonneberg, Loris Mistretta, Florian Hassa, David Ladamada and Ivan Kaufmann. So that is following race control, taking a look at the conduct of drivers, and basically if you stack cars up behind you by running a bit slowly, Fabian, that of course enables those cars, and particularly one car, to be able to get a jump on a number of cars in that knockout qualifying. I'm guessing that's why they penalised it.
Yeah, it's just not allowed to brake test the cars behind you, especially doing, let's say, laps behind the safety car. So I would say race control made the right decision because all other drivers are also not allowed to do stuff like that. So let's see for the race. I'm stoked, so let's go.
Yeah, thank you so much, Fabian, and thanks for being there with us as well and giving us your perspective on some of the decisions that are being made. And, of course, a number of decisions I don't doubt will be made during the race as well. Thanks once again to Fabian Vettel, who will be giving us his insight during the course of the race, I don't doubt as well. You can see he's positioned himself in front of race control, ready for that. Now, of course, here in Racing Unleashed, it is a fantastic camaraderie and atmosphere, and suffice to say, like the old Sister Sledge song of the 70s, which was such a big hit, I'm inclined to say we are family.
Green and go! Here, you are not just a lone fighter in a tough sporting competition against the other racers. You may be alone in the cockpit, but in the lounge you will quickly find friends. The focus is on having fun in the joint sporting competition. It has a family character, and indeed many families come to Racing Unleashed.
I might have had some sim racing experience once or twice before that, and then I drove at Racing Unleashed. At some point I was told that competitions also take place here.
It totally fascinated me. These cockpits that move, it's all very realistic and not like at home on the console.
Well, I was the first to be there, and then I told my dad that I was driving in the simulator at Racing Unleashed. Then he looked at it too, drove it once, and then very quickly he got the gold card.
But first I had bronze, then silver and then gold right away, because I realized that I wouldn't get very far with bronze.
Absolutely fun level. There's level 100.
We are addicted.
When the father with a son found new family similarities through Racing Unleashed. Karl Hirsch is always there when Sebastian Hirsch is chasing points.
I absolutely love watching him to try to improve his time and beat his old records.
And Sebastian Hirsch has gone through a radical fitness regimen, found new interests with Racing Unleashed, played sports, true to the motto of our Chief Fitness Officer.
Get fit and fast with a gladiator.
Family brings you together very strongly. When I think back to Sebastian 2 or 3 years ago, he was at home, I'll put it this way, as a couch potato and wasn't really fascinated by anything. And then he discovered this topic of motorsport and then said, okay, I want to do that. I'll change my whole life for it, and took a huge step.
Michael Schumacher was the first to recognize that the fittest people simply have advantages over other people. It completely changed my whole life.
The Heider brothers also live for motorsports. From an early age on the go in karts, they celebrate great success there. Together in one team, driver change among brothers, victorious in the Kart Series German Team Championship. The Heider brothers.
We have a great relationship. We go through thick and thin, and we support each other as best as we can. And when you have that kind of cohesion, it's all the more important to have that kind of goal. You have 100% trust. You know, okay, this person is giving everything now.
I also think that we would never be that good at the level we are now, and we couldn't have taken each other further. And so we step up and push each other almost to the limit in the fight.
But always fair.
The success also comes at Racing Unleashed. In the last 3 races, 3 podiums for Lorenzo Heider. The last even as a guest driver in the Racer League. Now the fraternal double podium is missing. Sometime.
Sometime? What do you mean? It has always been our goal. It will continue to be our goal. And then we will see how far we can get.
Heider 1, 2.
A very unusual constellation in the Fahrland family. Father and son are both active in the Challenger League.
That was always our dream, and that's something that is really easily possible here. And you won't find that anywhere else.
Ist, glaube ich, auch schon ganz cool, wenn man competitive.
It's really cool when you can race completely against each other and also compete with each other. And I think that support is also very important.
Was nicht so ganz läuft.
Racing Unleashed, a unique family bond. Or, in other words, we are family.
It's intense competition, Fabian, in the simulator, out of the simulator, that wonderful camaraderie and friendship.
Yeah, it's awesome to see how every of those characters are working together, you know, the brothers, the father and son, and that's what motorsport is all about, the passion and of course sharing it with friends and family.
It is one of the big things, isn't it, that you're able to share that passion and enjoy that passion with others as well. Thank you so much, Fabian. We'll be back with Fabian during the course of the racing today as well. But that feature really epitomizes what Racing Unleashed is all about. Hugely competitive, but camaraderie-like as well. And as soon as you get out of the cockpit, you're high-fiving and shaking hands with other competitors as well and being congratulated. It's a wonderful series. It is Racing Unleashed, Beyond the Pinnacle. This is Racing Unleashed, Beyond the Pinnacle. Hold on to your hats. We are on the grid. Who is going to be king of the late breakers? Excellent onboard shot. Michael Spiedel is throwing absolutely everything at this, including the kitchen sink. Look at this, absolutely brilliant stuff. Disaster strikes.
Unglaublich. Wow, qué pelea.
I'm loving this.
Take your hat off and give him a bow. He's already in the lead and now he can sail off into the sunset.
This is Racing Unleashed. And this is the grid for our race from Silverstone. Going from P16, Ivan Kaufman and David Ladomada. They go from P16 and P15 respectively in our lounges in Calm and Kemptal. And David Ladomada and Ivan Kaufman then on the 8th row of the grid. This our grid that is formed following race control, checking everything. We find Florian Hasse then. He's in our lounge in Munich going from P14. Loris Mistretta in Calm, he goes from P13 on the grid. So that is the 7th row of our grid for our Silverstone race as we go beyond the pinnacle in Racing Unleashed. Florian, good afternoon to you in Munich. May I say you've got a lot of work to do from P14 on the grid. 13 drivers to get past, Florian, for you to become P1.
Yeah, true, but that's not going to happen, I guess.
Hey, let's have confidence, Florian. I know what race pace you can deliver. And surely an objective like that and a challenge like that, now I've laid it to you, you're going to do your best, aren't you?
Yeah, sure. I think I can grab some good points today, but yeah, it was quite unfortunate in qualifying because I got spun in pretty much the last sector. And, yeah, quite unfortunate, but I still do my very best to get a good result in.
Of course you will. Florian, we wish you the best of luck. Thanks so much for talking to us. He goes from P14 in Munich. And as I said, Loris Mistretta goes from P13 in Calm. Then we see Yannick Vonenberg and Devin Iskro. They are going from P12 and P11. And they are racing in those Formula Hybrid X Evo 22 simulators. Yannick in Munich and Devin Iskro. He's literally no more than 2 or 3 meters away from me in Kemptal. And you can see with his eyes closed, he's focusing very much on the start to come. Here's Fabio Vettica in Zurich, and then to the left-hand side you can see Alejandro Sanchez with your hand movements there, Alejandro. I suggest you're just trying to keep yourself cool. It's a warm day in Madrid, I'm guessing.
It's too warm of a day in Madrid, I would say. Trying to keep myself cool, but it would be impossible. So I'll probably dehydrate or something in the race.
Something I said during knockout qualifying, Alejandro, is the fact that You are almost, when you're in that simulator, your facial expressions almost emotionless. You are so focused on the job that you have got to do. And may I say, Alejandro, you've got a big job to do from P9, haven't you?
Yeah, I do. But we'll try to maximize what we have. I got caught up in an accident in the knockout qualifying, but I think our pace is really strong, so we'll see where we end up.
You've certainly got the pace. Best of luck to you, Alejandro. Best of luck to Fabio Vettiga as well. They go from P10 and P9. Fabio's in Zurich and Alejandro in the very warm Madrid. Now, Michael Smeedel and Wojciech Polesny, they go from P8 and P7. Michael, Mr. Smeedel, the one thing that can't be got wrong, even if I get your name wrong, is the fact that you are a very, very quick racing driver, top of the championship at the moment. You've got 7 cars in front of you to get past for you to bank another P1. I'm sure you're going to tell me it'll be easy, Dave.
Let's see what's going to happen. I mean, there's going to be incidents, that's for sure, so I just need to stay calm and collected and just go for it as always.
You've raced at lots and lots of tracks. Is Silverstone one of your favourites?
Yeah, I would say it's in my top 5 of all tracks.
Well, I hope you replicate that top 5 and more than when it comes to the result at the end of the race. Good luck to you, Michael, and thank you for talking to us. We really appreciate that. Going from P8, Michael Smeedel, and going from P7, his fellow countryman from the Czech Republic, Wojciech Polesny, who, of course, picked up something of a penalty from knockout qualifying. Javier Lauro, P6 in Madrid, and Angelo Mikhail in Munich. He is going from P5, so you can see them there in their simulators, ready to rock and roll and soul as we will get the race underway very, very shortly. So that is the third row of the grid. It contains Javier Lauro and Angelo Mikhail. Christoph Holstein and Enrique Marino, and Enrique not paying attention at the moment, but now he is, and Christoph Holstein is going from P4. Enrique Marino in Madrid, going from P3. Enrique, I was really impressed with you yesterday, as I hope my memory is correct. I think I saw you in the lounge supporting our Challenger drivers as well, Enrique. And did you learn anything from them with regards to how to handle this Silverstone circuit, Enrique?
Yeah, because I think that I saw the race and it was really tricky to the overtakes. Because if you overtake someone on a turn in the straight of after the turn, he's going to catch the slipstream and overtake you again. So you have to be really fast to overtake another driver.
So a very clever strategy from your point of view, Enrique, doing your homework then and researching what you need to do. We wish you the best of luck from P3. Enrique Marino in Madrid going from P3. Good luck to you. Christoph Holstein going from P4. Sebastian Hirsch. He goes from P2. Sebastian, we've been running a fantastic film called We Are Family. And of course, we spoke to you and we spoke to your father as well. What a change, may I say, Sebastian, in your lifestyle since you discovered Racing Unleashed. Is that fair for me to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a huge change in my life since the last 1.5, 2 years. So it's been an amazing time, and I just hope it's gonna be the next year's the same as that. So I hope I can finish it off good today.
Well, Sebastian, you've done a really good job during knockout qualifying. You're going from P2. I mean, that is a brilliant performance. Can you convert that into a very creditable finish?
Yeah, of course I hope so. So the main goal why we all are here is to win the race. But last time I was also on P2 and didn't finish it off so good. So hopefully this time it's going to be better.
We wish you the best of luck, Sebastian, and thank you to you and your father for being so kind to us when we filmed our We Are Family feature. Good luck in the race. And, of course, going from pole position, Gizio Cecilia, who is in Madrid, and as you can see, he is ready to go racing. That is our grid in full then. All the drivers that will be taking part in this race to come. And let's go with some fast facts now on Silverstone. So as the track unfolds before our very eyes, it is the home of British motor racing. 5.891 kilometres with 8 left-handers and 10 right-handers. And a 274-metre sprint from the start to turn 1. The Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel sequence is undoubtedly one of the most enjoyable sequence of corners in international motorsport, let alone European. And as we take a look at the final lap from last year, Mikhail Smedel then P5, Alejandro Sanchez then banking the win. So he already has some pedigree here at Silverstone, and he has a somewhat lowly starting position today as we saw him through the loop there. Will he be able to be victorious? Let's take a highlights look at some of the fantastic sequences like the Maggots sequence there, and Beckett's and Chapel as well. It's such a flowing set of corners. And
this is my first time in this kind of simulator, and there are a lot of sensations and feelings that you have to well, I mean, it's very difficult to be fast at the start of the when you start with this kind of simulator. But well, I will try my best.
He has made a brilliant debut, hasn't he? So Silverstone then, known as the home of British motorsports, so historic, of course, with the British Racing Drivers Club as well and their fantastic complex. And of course, new to Silverstone is the museum, just recalling some of the history of some fantastic moments of this wonderful circuit in Northamptonshire, which has been the scene of success for the likes of Brawn GP with Ross Brawn and Jenson Button, of course. So those were our fast facts. This is our grid. And we await the lights to be shown at the top of the screen before the racers will be off then here at Silverstone. Looking for a fantastic race. There is the lighting gantry, the virtual lighting gantry at the top of the screen. And we have 6 red lights. And when the lights are extinguished, we will be away and racing. Oh, and someone jumps to start straight away. That was from P2, I'm sure. And that means that will be picked up immediately by race control, just trying to anticipate the lights. And if memory serves me, we had a jump start with Roger Marte at Brands Hatch. So 2 times here in the UK. And unfortunately, a jump start for Sebastian Hirsch. Christoph Holstein's up to P2 and Jesus Cecilia down to P3. Enrique Marino, then is Wojciech Polesny, Angelo Mikhail and Mikhail Smedel as everyone sticks their elbows out and gets going in the first part of this race. Then we're with Fabio Vettica now on the P11 position with Devin Iskro going around and taking up P10. Here is Wojciech Polesny then, who got penalised in the knockout qualifying. He'll be wanting to right the wrongs of that penalisation and try and score the very, very best result that he can. And he is on a mission here as he goes past Enrique Marinon and moves up to P4. He's got the bit well between his teeth here. Mikhail Smedel making moves as well. He's up to P6 as the cars begin just a little bit to stretch their legs now. Alejandro Sanchez and Javier Lauro having a ding-dong battle over P8. And Mikhail Smedel then leading something of a train of cars there. As you can see, we go almost 3 cars abreast here as we take this corner with Mikhail Smedel able to show a clean pair of heels to all those cars behind him. But it's a real battle for Alejandro Sanchez trying to move up to P7 from P8. Almost a wheel barge, but not quite. Good, healthy respect between the drivers. Racing room has been left, and we put the first lap in the book here at Silverstone as we are racing in Racing Unleashed. Our Racer League drivers then, and Alejandro Sanchez and Angelo Mikhail having this fantastic battle. Neither of them prepared to give a centimetre of tarmac as Christoph Holstein leads from Cecilia, from Polesny, from Smedel, already up to P4. And when we spoke to Smedel in the warm-up to the race, as always, he was underplaying his chances. He's a very, very wily driver. Javier Lauro to the right-hand side of the screen as we split the screens, and Alejandro Sanchez on the left-hand side of the screen. You can see Devin Iskro now, who's just lost out to Javier Lauro. He's running in P9. Javier Lauro is P8. Alejandro Sanchez P6, chasing down Enrique Marinon. Alejandro Sanchez in this orange car and Enrique Marinon in the all-yellow car that he is chasing at the moment. Holstein leading by 1.4 seconds over Polesny, and then Jesus Cecilia started from pole position and now runs in P3. Here's Alejandro Sanchez then. Current champion, of course, and very much as Mikhail Smedel just took a look at the inside of Cecilia there, trying to unsettle the Cecilia car ahead. So Smedel then trying to get himself into a potential podium paying place very early on in this race. He's made a number of overtakes and is now rounding this turn and putting another lap in the book and going for another quest on this lap to move from P4 to P3. He sets the fastest lap in so doing, a 1:31.517 as he goes around the outside now. That move did not work, but what he's tried to do is unsettle Cecilia, who makes his debut in Racing Unleashed this weekend. And so, dare I say it, Smeedle is something of an old hand in Racing Unleashed. And here we can see as he dives, gets the draft off the Cecilia car. And but it is around the outside again, but that would give him the inside for the next turn if he was able to stay with him. There's a little touch, and Smeedle does go through to pick up P3. So it's Smeedle in a podium position now, potentially. And tell you what, Alejandro Sanchez and Enrique Marino. Here is Enrique Marino that we go on board with now, who's running in P5. And there you could see Jisu Cecilia running wide, and that playing into the hands of Enrique Marino, who picks up P4 now. So he did his research yesterday. He watched the entire Challenger League race from being inside the lounge at Madrid. He wanted to learn everything he could about where's good to try and overtake here, and actually that appears to have worked as Alejandro Sanchez tries to pick off another driver now. And Alejandro Sanchez moving by Jisu Cecilia to put Alejandro Sanchez firmly into that P5 place. He's being chased now by Jisu, and next in the target sights of Alejandro Sanchez is going to be the car of Enrique Marino as Christoph Holstein sets the fastest lap. He's got clear track ahead of him. It's a 1:31.326. 1:31.326 for and here is Jisu Cecilia that we're on board with now, who's got Angelo Mikhail for company, and then Javier Lauro in the two green cars that are following, and then you can just see Devin Iskro into the shot as well. So Angelo Mikhail then inside the Formula Hybrid X Evo 2022 car, running in that P7 position, and there he is. Trademark baseball cap is on, and lots and lots of facial expressions as he tries to do his level best around this Silverstone circuit on the old National Pit straight now, heading up towards Copse, which is turn number 9 through Copse, which is taken full chat flat. And here is our race leader, Christoph Holstein from Wojciech Polesny P2, and now Michael Smeedle is P3, of course, as we saw his quest moving up the order. So Christoph Holstein then on the hanger straight now, heading up towards the turn which is Stowe, turn number 15. You can't take this full chat flat, you'd end up in the turnip field next door. And he does lift just a little bit, and Holstein makes his way through the turn, no problem at all. Enrique Marino then, with Michael Smeedle ahead of him. He knows that he's going to have a hard-charging Alejandro Sanchez on his gearbox very, very soon, potentially, but to be fair to Enrique, he's doing a good job and managing his pace perfectly, and keeping a gap between himself and Alejandro Sanchez currently. This is Javier Lauro running in P8. Angelo Mikhail is the target driver ahead of him, and behind him is Devin Iskro trying to get on terms with Javier Lauro. Devin Iskro running in P9 at the moment. Loris Mistretta has lost out to Florian Hassa, who we spoke to on the grid just before the start of the race. We're on lap 5 of 20, and here is Mr. Smeedle then, full of concentration and focus along the National Pit straight now. This, of course, is where races used to be started in ye good old days at Silverstone. And then around this Copse turn and heading up to that sequence that every driver loves, and Maggots, Beckett's and Chappell, and of course Michael admitting in our quick chat with him on the grid that Silverstone is definitely in the top 5 of his circuits around the world. We didn't actually find out what is the favourite circuit, and he may not even choose to tell us that, but certainly Silverstone, in his opinion, is well within his top 5. Now, Wojciech Polesny is ahead of him, and one of the drivers that may have been advantaged a little bit by Wojciech Polesny and the penalty that he picked up for his conduct during the knockout qualifying might have been the very driver that is right behind him now, Michael Smeedle. Just saying, and I wonder, as Michael now sets the fastest lap, a 1:31 dead, whether he won't find too much resistance when he tries to overtake Wojciech Polesny. not sure. I think Wojciech is in a very, very good P2 position, and of course, big money up for grabs in terms of the drivers and what they can bank. So I'm sure Wojciech would be very, very happy to bank P2, and maybe he won't give away that P2 place to Mikhail quite so easily. For my money, Enrique Marino is beginning to reel Smeedle in here. So Marino running in P4, Alejandro Sanchez is P5, and I did say that Alejandro Sanchez has not made quite the progress in getting close to Enrique Marino as I thought that maybe he would. So that proves, A, Marino is driving a very, very good race in P4, and that might explain why he is getting closer to Smeedle. It's down to 6/10 the gap between Smeedle and Marino. Meantime, Christoph Holstein is 2.3 seconds up the road on Wojciech Polesny, who's running in P2. This is Ivan Kaufman with Yannick Vonenberg ahead, and Yannick doing a bit of weaving there to try and break the toe afforded to Ivan Kaufman. Kaufman now to the outside, but Yannick Vonenberg with the inside line, but of course that does become the outside for the next turn, so they remain side by side until Ivan Kaufman is able to put himself ahead of Yannick Vonenberg. So Ivan Kaufman now up to P14. So Holstein, Polesny, Smeedle, the top three at the moment, but lots of battles going on throughout the pack as we are on lap 7 of 20 of this Silverstone circuit here in Northamptonshire. And Mikhail Smeedle still trying to reel in Wojciech Polesny, and he is getting a little bit closer now. So here is Smeedle, and ahead of him is the all-red car of Wojciech Polesny, who slows, and Smeedle goes through. I would suggest that that might be a nice drink waiting for Wojciech Polesny in due course, because Smeedle didn't have to work too hard to get past Wojciech Polesny there. So Polesny now, whose role will be to hold up Enrique Marino and Alejandro Sanchez, I would suggest, and prevent them getting close to Mikhail Smeedle. Right, the fight is on now, as Glenn Fry might say, because we have a gap between Christoph Holstein and Michael Smeedle of 2.8 seconds. We are on lap 7 of 20, so there is lots of time left to Michael to try and get on terms with Christoph Holstein. So there is Smeedle then, and we will keep an eye on the gap, and Smeedle was quicker on the last lap than Holstein. Let's take a look at a replay of the start then, as we watch Loris Mistretta. Here it comes then. And it was an absolute slam dunk of a jump start, no question about that, but we can see it from the perspective of all the other drivers now with our virtual helicopter giving us this fantastic bird's eye view. And actually, in comparison, I think it was a reasonably clean and tidy start for most of the drivers, who of course have to take to the runoff areas and to the curbs for the first sequence of turns because there's so many cars out there. But Racing Control are more than well aware of that and allow some leniency on the opening lap. And Fabian Vettel, who is watching the race as well, of course, and there is no question about it in my mind, Fabian, that was a slam dunk of a jump start, and will be penalised effectively for that. Now, what I'm also interested in, and what I'd like to talk to Fabian about perhaps even more than the jump start, which is no contest, is the way that Mikhail Smeedle was able to get by Wojciech Polesny with almost no defence from Mr. Polesny at all. Surely, Fabian, you noticed that as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a crazy beginning of the race. We saw a jump start into lap 1 from Sebastian Hirsch. It's a shame because he started from P2. I think he's a quite talented driver, and I know him from Munich, and yeah, to see him starting way too early was yeah, for me a shame, because like I said, I knew him personally, but yeah, we had the intense start of the race, and now we are seeing everybody is like marging the gaps and managing all of the end of the race. Let's see what will happen in the last laps.
Just before you go, Fabian, talking about the jump start as you did, when you are a racing driver and when you're sitting on the grid, I'm right in assuming, Fabian, that actually you do try very, very hard to anticipate the lights going out, don't you? And just sometimes you get it wrong, and presumably that's what's happened with Sebastian.
Yeah, sometimes you're just getting shaky on your left leg, let's say it like this. And yeah, of course you are nervous, you are motivated to get a good start. And of course, if you are starting from the front row, it's a quite intense situation, let's say it like that. And of course, your left leg is getting a bit shaky sometimes.
Yeah, of course it is. Fabian, thank you so much for talking to us. Fabian, then with us throughout the course of the race. And I have to say, the conduct of the racing drivers since the start of the race, I think, has been exemplary so far. They're doing a very, very good job indeed. Holstein leading from Smeedle. The gap is 2.6 seconds. Then it's Polesny P3. Then it's Marinon and Sanchez. Then it's Cecilia, Michel, Lauro, and Devin Iskro, and Fabian Vettiger then rounding out the top 10 at the moment, as we are on lap 10 of 20, so halfway through this race here at Silverstone. The race being led by Christoph Holstein. Now, if I can read a race, I would suggest that Smeedle will very quietly creep up on Christoph Holstein, and then go for it in the final quarter of the race. That's when he'll really narrow the gap. He's protecting his tyres at the moment, I would suggest, and just keeping with him. Enrique Marino, that we are on board with now, is running in P4 and really hasn't been threatened by Alejandro Sanchez, which surprises me. And it reinforces just how good Enrique Marino is, as he's chasing down Wojciech Polesny, and he's been really focused on this and the pace and speed that he has. Now, as he gets within striking distance of Wojciech Polesny, of course he will slow because he wants to find a way by Polesny, and this will mean that Enrique Marino goes into that position where he's hunting and being hunted at the same time, as Alejandro Sanchez is right behind him now. So what Marino needs to do is get past Polesny as quickly as he possibly can, to give himself the protection of another car between himself and this driver, which is Alejandro Sanchez, going through Farm right now. He is running in P5, and there you can see Enrique Marino in the wheel tracks of Wojciech Polesny, trying to get Polesny just to make a small mistake, just to lose concentration for a millisecond, as we're on the Wellington Straight now. And you can see that from a power point of view, Enrique Marino has got the power and pace in the car, but he does need to get by Wojciech Polesny very quickly, or Alejandro Sanchez might be able to take the two of them in one hit. We will see. Lap 11 of 20 now, National Pit Straight into the Copse turn. And Florian Hasse that we look at now, who is running in P11, and has got Vettiger ahead of him. Here is Florian. We spoke to him on the grid. Love the sound of these simulators through Maggots, Beckett's, and this wonderful sequence of turns that drivers absolutely love, and into Chapel and then onto the Hangar Straight, of course. 290 kilometers per hour. As now Enrique Marino, having not got by Wojciech Polesny, does have Alejandro Sanchez breathing down his neck. So this is going to be a great opportunity to see just how good Enrique Marino can be at defensive driving in holding off the threat of Alejandro Sanchez, whilst also trying to get by Wojciech Polesny as well. This three-way fight that is going on now for the final podium place is intensifying and beginning to heat up. So Enrique Marino just showed his face to the inside of Wojciech Polesny. Here comes Alejandro Sanchez, who will have been rehearsing lap after lap after lap where he thinks he might get an opportunity to try and go by on the Enrique Marino car. So Sanchez now just 4 or 5 car lengths. Let's see it from being on board with Wojciech Polesny, the two drivers fighting behind him. Wojciech Polesny doing a good job here as well. There's 4 tenths between himself and Enrique Marino. And through once again this Beckett's Maggots Chapel sequence of turns. You can feel the drivers and hear the drivers lift a little bit before the long hanger straight, the fastest part of the Silverstone circuit then, before reining in the speed and going through the Stowe turn, which is where we're at right now. Holstein leading by 2 seconds now over Mikhail Smeedel. Smeedel can see the Holstein car ahead of him and is beginning to take time out of Holstein. And meantime, we've got 2 battles that are going on, and the closest battle is not for the lead at the moment. It is for this P3 place. Well, in fact, it's for P3, P4 and P5. That's what we're watching. And we're right to be watching this, because on lap 13 of 20, Enrique Marino gets closer to Wojciech Polesny than he has done for many, many laps previously. Can he provoke a small error from Polesny that would be enough for Enrique Marino, like a viper, to go through and pick up that P3 place? Well, it hasn't happened yet. We stay on board with Wojciech Polesny. You can see the different lines that the 2 drivers are taking. And Enrique Marino absolutely determined to fill the rear view mirrors of Wojciech Polesny with that all-yellow racing car of his, made in Maranello. Pushing and pushing and pushing. Love the static camera. That gives us a real sensation of the speed that these drivers are propelling their cars around here at Silverstone. Just make a note, another couple of tenths have been taken out of the leading time from Christoph Holstein by the hard-charging Mikhail Smeedel. Just saying. Just saying. Here's Alejandro Sanchez. Through this corner, take as much speed as possible. Just use the curbs, but keep your eyes on the sausage curbs on the next sequence of turns, because they can really unsettle the car. I think the drivers have driven with remarkable credit. A 1:39.99 from Mikhail Smeedel is the fastest lap, which means the gap between P1 and P2 is down to just 1.5 seconds now. This man is a master. There is no question about it. It's awe-inspiring to watch him on board along the Wellington Straight as he drives these cars fantastically well. Totally focused, totally composed for the entire race duration. And we are on lap 14 of 20. Here's Enrique Marino, still not been able to find a way by Wojciech Polesny, who in his own right is doing a very good job in guarding that P3 position. Both Smeedel and Polesny driving in our lounge in Munich, and whatever lounge you're competing in, we're delighted that you're there. Running very wide was Alejandro Sanchez then. Was he trying to get a little bit of a slingshot of speed perhaps? Or am I being really rather cynical? He certainly has got a little bit closer to Enrique Marino there by exceeding the track limits a little bit, getting something of a speed slingshot, and that brings him potentially within striking distance of Enrique Marino. It's all playing nicely into the hands of Wojciech Polesny. The more that Enrique Marino and Alejandro Sanchez fight between themselves, it just plays into the hands of Wojciech Polesny, who has to enjoy the fact that those 2 drivers, as they get involved in their own battle, leave him well alone. But that's not the case now, as the attention focus now comes back from Enrique Marino on Wojciech Polesny. The gap between P1 and P2 down to 1.2. Wojciech Polesny then driving as much by looking at the rearview mirrors as he is through looking ahead. And we're on the Wellington Straight now with Wojciech, who runs in this P3 place. You can see in the rearview mirror at the top of the screen just how close Enrique Marino is getting, but it's all very well being close. It's all very well being faster than the car that is in front of you. You've got to find a way by it, and thus far Enrique has not been able to do that. In the same vein, Alejandro Sanchez has not really been able to take it to Enrique Marino as David Ladamada moves up to P13, having got by Ivan Kaufman. So we have 5 laps of the race remaining. Where has the time gone? Such a compelling race to enjoy. The race action supreme as Polesny now comes under renewed pressure and vigour from Enrique Marino. There you can see Wojciech Polesny quite deliberately trying to break the toe and not allow Enrique Marino any more advantage than he already has, as Marino and Sanchez concertina up together now And it could all of a sudden become a joint effort in terms of trying to get by Wojciech Polesny, neither of whom have succeeded in doing so yet. And Enrique Marino, now gets alongside Wojciech Polesny, but it's a long way around the outside here. So he is being pushed into this really by Alejandro Sanchez, who of course is right up his trumpet here. And this is a fascinating battle which is really beginning to intensify and glow red hot in the embers now. Tries to sell Wojciech a dummy by going to the outside. Now he'll try and get underneath Wojciech Polesny. Thus far, none of it has worked. Alejandro Sanchez just stays steadfast in that position at the moment, waiting for these two to fight and to be able to pick up any advantage or any pieces that he can. We ride on board with Wojciech Polesny now. Absolutely brilliant racing. Fabian Vettel, what can Marino do? I mean, lap after lap after lap, he's looked at every opportunity to get by Polesny. None of it has worked.
Yeah, intense racing. We are spectating racing for P3 for the podium. And of course, don't forget the race for P1. Yes, Miedl is catching up. He's increasing the speed, going at incredible pace. And let's see what the last laps will bring.
Thank you so much, Fabian. You're absolutely right. It is an intensive race, and it is a brilliant race to watch as Michael Smeedel now takes another few tenths out of his previous fastest lap. He is now within 7/10 of Christoph Holstein, and Michael Smeedel then is on a mission here. So too is Enrique Marino, who again tries to sell Wojciech Polesny something of a dummy, but it hasn't worked. And what Enrique cannot afford to do is to make himself vulnerable to Alejandro Sanchez. It is the worst position possible for him to be in, trying to overtake and trying to defend at the same time. You can see that Alejandro Sanchez is just being really uber cautious here, and he's allowing Marino to fight ahead of him. And that is playing nicely into the hands of Wojciech Polesny, who's just steadfastly in that P3 position. Now Smeedel is within striking distance of Holstein. We bring both battles to you because they are both so compelling. The battle for P3 and the battle for P1. There's only one driver really focusing on taking that P1 place away, and that is Michael Smeedel, who over the last few laps really has increased his speed and his pace, as Fabian Vettel told us. And there is a mistake from Christoph Holstein. That plays nicely into the hands of Michael Smeedel. Do you know what? Michael didn't even need to get so close to him because the pressure was coming, and Michael Smeedel didn't really need to overtake because Christoph Holstein bowed to the pressure of the masterful Michael Smeedel behind him, and now we have a new race leader. And it came on lap 18 of 20. Smeedel leading Holstein, leading Polesny, leading Sanchez, leading Marino. So Alejandro Sanchez getting by Enrique Marino whilst we were watching Christoph Holstein lose out to Michael Smeedel. Wow, what a race in the final stages of this race. You can see that Christoph Holstein is really upset about that, but there is no question that it was a mistake from Christoph Holstein. Maybe it was the pressure that he could see coming from Michael Smeedel. Whatever it was, it played into the hands of the man from the Czech Republic, who now finds himself leading the race. Now, Alejandro Sanchez, what can he do to get by Wojciech Polesny that Enrique Marino was not able to do? Well, he's running out of time to be able to do it, in truth. And just look, Smeedel has now got 3 seconds ahead of Holstein in the lead of this race. Absolutely brilliant racing, and really clean and tidy racing as well. Loris Mistretta then is P12 at the moment. And Loris Mistretta has Haase and Vettiger ahead of him in the 2 purple-coloured cars. And Loris Mistretta then is 2 cars away, of course, from being in the points zone and being in the payout zone as well. And if on the final couple of laps he could move himself up the order, he would like to do that. Here's Alejandro Sanchez now getting a little bit closer to Wojciech Polesny, but he's got a lot of work to do over the remainder of this lap, plus one more, which is all that remains in this race. And Enrique Marino will want to right the wrongs of Sanchez getting by him as well. And Sanchez will be well aware of that fact also. Smeedle is now leading by 3.5 seconds over Christoph Holstein P2. Then Wojciech Polesny, who's a further 3 seconds down, running in P3. Alejandro Sanchez just off the podium in P4, ahead of Enrique Marino. Jesus Cecilia with a brilliant debut in this wonderful Racing Unleashed series. Here is Alejandro Sanchez, national pit straight now, going into the Copse turn. Full chat flat. Can Alejandro Sanchez in the remainder of this lap plus one more just light the wick up still further on Wojciech Polesny? Can Enrique Marino find the pace to get on terms once again with Alejandro Sanchez? So many questions remain to be answered in the remaining 1.5 laps of this brilliant race here at Silverstone, with Racing Unleashed absolutely going beyond the pinnacle today with a masterclass of really, really intensive and brilliant racing. And how can Mikhail Smeedle put in a fastest lap right at the end of the race? Well, his tyre conservation during the course of the race was very clever, his tyre preservation, and of course he has got completely clear tarmac ahead of him. He therefore takes advantage of that and moves his margin between himself and Christoph Holstein up to 4.4 seconds. We have started our final lap of this race at Silverstone. What a race it has been. Privileged to talk about it. Must be absolutely wonderful to be in one of the simulators driving it. Alejandro Sanchez, he's within 0.5 of Wojciech Polesny, but Polesny has looked rock solid in holding on to that P3 place. If the pressure has come from Sanchez or Marino, he has not been shaken from either of those two drivers. So I rather think that barring disaster, which could still happen, we hope it doesn't, Polesny should have this under control. Alejandro Sanchez in his quest to try and get him on the hanger straight meant he kicked up a bit of dust. Wojciech Polesny now, all he needs to do is stick his elbows out. Alejandro Sanchez trying to get close to him. Smeedle will cross the timing line with in excess of 5 seconds to the good and wins at Silverstone. A brilliant drive from Michael Smeedle, who I believe well, he knew what he'd got to do, and he just spent his time being very, very clever. I have to say a good well done to Wojciech Polesny as well for holding off Alejandro Sanchez, I should say, and there you can see. So a double podium for the Czech Republic then, P1 and P3, with Christoph Holstein taking P2. Great racing, really clean and tidy racing in my opinion as well. And Christoph Holstein, he'll be saying what could have been, what should have been. He's in Zurich, and he did make a mistake, in my opinion. And I think he just a momentary lapse of concentration, knowing that Smeedle was coming like a jackhammer behind him. And I think that was the reason that he made the error that he did. Alejandro Sanchez moved up the order, and another very creditable race from Alejandro Sanchez. We know just what a talent he is, and on his slowing down lap now as he's completed the final lap, of course. And Mikhail Smeedle, it's another fine victory for Michael then. A brilliant drive, very, very focused drive, but all completely in his control. It was almost like the strategy had been worked out. And Enrique Marino, another great performance from Enrique as well. So as we saw Enrique into Vale there, and we take a whistle-stop tour of all of our lounges then, as the drivers will be jumping out of their simulators. It was a joy to watch. It really was a wonderful race at Silverstone. It certainly delivered in terms of action. And I have to be honest, I don't think there's going to be an awful lot for our race direction team to look at in that race. The obvious jump start, of course, and maybe just one or two incidents, but that's all I would suggest. For me, it was a very, very clean and tidy race. We will see. So as you can see, the simulators there inside the lounge. And of course we will have the podiums to come, and we take a look at the provisional results in due course as well. And of course all the results remain provisional until the race direction team have taken a look at all and any incidents that need to be looked at. And though I say I'm not convinced there will be an awful lot of those, because I think generally speaking the racing was really very, very clean and tidy. So if my memory is correct, that looks like the Zurich Lounge, and to the very right hand side of the picture is Christoph Holstein. There is David Ladamada here in Kemptal, and David Ladamada then, another one of the big stars of Racing Unleashed, and he has a very, very committed and determined full-time job working in emergency services as well. So we thank him not only for being a great racing driver, but also for being a great public servant as well. David Ladamada then eases himself out of the simulator with more grace than I ever would, as Devin Iskro walks behind as well. There is Devin Iskro. I was speaking to him just ahead of the start of the race, and Devin's time will come. His racecraft being learned is he is doing very, very well indeed. And as I say, still plenty to come from Devin Iskro. He has a good career in front of him now. You can just see here is David Ladamada's companion that's with him today here in the lounge. Absolutely lovely young dog. It really was great to meet, and has been so well behaved. In fact, better behaved than many of our TV production personnel, I have to say. Not interested in water, I wanted a hot chocolate. David Ladamada. Oh, okay. Very well behaved. Really obedient. And now gets to stretch his legs. Let's take a look at some of the replays. And I didn't mean what I said about the dog is better behaved than many of our TV production crew. That would be very unfair and unjust of me. Right. Here at the start, there was no question about the jump start, was there? I mean, goodness me, I have no race direction qualifications or credibility, but that was pretty obvious to me. I have to say, I think the rest of the start was reasonably clean and tidy. And I think, generally speaking, all the drivers' conduct was really, really good, especially through the opening sequence of turns, where all the turns become something of a funnel. This was Wojciech Polesny on the inside. It looked to me to be perfectly fair. He was right alongside the car in front. Was there a touch between the two of them? Well, in my mind, he turned in on Wojciech. Just my opinion. I have no influence whatsoever. Loris Mistretta, the back end of the car just got a little bit loose. That unsettled it. And that meant that he could go right alongside. And there you can see our race control team. And in the middle, in the white, freshly ironed, crisp shirt, is one Mr. Carl Wendlinger, who's driving ambassador with an extraordinary successful racing career, has Carl. And therefore, he can see it from a driver's eye perspective. And he offers our two race directors there his driver's eye viewpoint in terms of what he thinks is fair and what he thinks is potentially unfair. And therefore, it is always seen and heard from a driver's point of view as well. The integrity of the championship is unquestioned. And you can see that they can look at absolutely every single piece of footage there is. Frame by frame, should it be necessary. But as I say, I think the race direction team will benefit from an early bath tonight, or this afternoon, because I don't think there's a heck of a lot for them to look at. We will see. Obviously, there are things going on then while we're calling the race that perhaps we don't always see. So let's take a look now at Michael Schmiedl then. Another hugely dominant performance from this a very, very talented racing driver. Applauded by the Michael Schmiedl fan club behind him there. And there you can see, there breaks the smile as the realization of, yes, 5 seconds to the good. Well done, Michael. and he gets congratulated there. And here is our race direction team from a different angle now, looking at all the incidents. And as I say, I don't think there were many of them. One or two things to be looked at, as always, but here is our provisional podium, and I'd almost bet the no money I have in my pocket as that this will stay. Michael Smeedel, P1, Christoph Holstein, P2, and Wojciech Polesny, P3. It is the provisional podium because Race Control are looking at everything at the moment, but I don't think or see anything that would necessarily mean that that podium will be unaltered. Wojciech Polesny, I have to say, you were under pressure for quite a lot of that race, but you just soaked it up, Wojciech, and you defended perfectly fairly. Actually, I'm not even sure I would say defended, because I don't think anyone got close enough to you to really put a fight on. Great driving, Wojciech.
Yeah, thank you so much. To be honest, it was quite difficult to keep the Spaniard guys behind me, but yeah. And otherwise, I'm a little bit angry to Christoph to which protested me in the knockout round. So I'll let Michael go, and the final, yeah, it calls him a win. So yeah.
Well, I have to say, Wojciech, and I hope you won't be offended by it, I did say when you and Michael were together on the straight, I said, I don't think Wojciech will defend this position too hard, and you didn't. In fact, if you'd have indicated right and had a cup of coffee, it was, but, you know, I understand why you did that, but, yeah, I mean, you never actually, for all the laps that I called it, I really didn't think that you were under threat of losing that P3 position, and you actually made it look much easier than you said it was, because you said you did have to defend and you were aware.
Yes, of course, but yeah, the Silverstone is quite it's not quite easy track to overtake, but I use it, and track was on my side, so.
Well, it's a very good day for the Czech Republic racing talent, isn't it, with P1 and P3?
Yes, of course.
Many congratulations to you, Wojciech, and thank you for talking to us. We really appreciate that.
Thank you, too.
So, Wojciech Polesny then with P3. There is Devin Iskro and David Ladomada then having a conversation at the end of the race. And, oh, I thought Devin had actually taken his race belts with him, but no, it's his backpack. So, Devin Iskro and David Ladomada there having a conversation. And there you can almost see in the background is there is Devin's backpack. Here is Christoph Holstein. Christoph, I don't call many things correctly. You're in Zurich. I said, you know, there is a mistake, I'm sure, from Christoph Holstein as he runs wide and Michael Smeedel goes through. Was it the pressure of knowing that he was coming like a steam train behind you, Christoph?
I mean, yes, obviously there was pressure, but it's not a mistake I made. It's I had a technical issue in that corner where my wheel was basically off center, like it recalibrated itself midway through the corner, so I was going straight on. So there was not much I could do in that situation. I mean, you never know what would have happened in the 3 laps, and maybe would have made an actual mistake. But yeah, when you're 3 laps from victory and you lose the race like this, then yeah, it's not the greatest feeling.
Well, first and foremost, Christoph, I owe you an apology then. It wasn't a mistake, it was a reset that needed to be done. You did jolly well to get that back in order then, and you're so humble as to say, you know, actually what would have happened in 3 laps, none of us will ever know, but at the moment it is going to be P2 for you. And do you feel then it is the win that got away, Christoph?
I mean, you never know. I mean, he was super quick. I feel like he needed a little bit of time to get into a groove after he got past Polesny, and then he was catching very, very quickly, much more quickly than I would have hoped. So, well, I mean, yeah, he did everything right, and he deserved to be on the top spot of the podium. But yeah, obviously a little bit disappointed at the moment for P2. I think I'll sleep over it, and then on the next day I think I'll be happy with P2 because it's the best result of the season for me.
Well done, Christoph. Your best result of the season. Thank you for talking to us then. So the podium is confirmed, which means that Christoph Holstein's P2 is confirmed. It means Wojciech Polesny's P3 is confirmed. And of course, for Michael Smeedel, it means, hello Fabian, it means his P1 is confirmed as well. So that's the way it looks at the moment. It's absolutely confirmed from Race Control. And Michael Smeedle, then, I said that you'd got this strategically, you'd sussed that what you were going to do, you were going to make the real attack with the last 6 or 7 laps to do, and it was another brilliant drive. I had the audacity to call you a master. I apologise for that, but I think it was another masterful display, Michael.
First of all, it's nice to hear you, Dave, after we missed the interview last time out when I finished fourth.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I had to push like crazy right from the beginning. Obviously, I knew that the pace was there, so I was pushing like a maniac right from the first lap. And then I made a few nice overtakes, and yeah, obviously I was a little bit lucky with Christoph, so I feel sorry for him. He deserved to win that race, but I was there to collect that, and I have won the race, so it feels great.
Very humble of you to say he deserved that race win, but at the end of the day, as a racing driver, you have to take your luck sometimes, and sometimes your luck is good, sometimes it's bad. Christoph was saying he felt that even if he hadn't had that steering reset in that corner where I thought he'd made a mistake, that you'd got so much pace that probably you'd have got by.
Yeah, I wanted to put him under pressure, but obviously it made my life easier when he did that mistake or it was a technical issue, whatever. So yeah, really happy with that. I wasn't really aiming to win the race, to be honest. I am more like thinking about the championship now after 5 races, but obviously winning that race feels super special, and it's a great feeling, to be honest.
My last question to you, when will you next be competing in the lounge in Kemptal so you and I can have a cup of tea together, friend?
I don't know when, but well, to be honest, I would like to be there for the final race, and probably we're going to be invited there for Battle for Glory, I guess, so we can have a coffee and probably a few beers, I guess.
I'm looking forward to that. Many congratulations on your win. We'll see you on the top step of the podium. Well done, Michael Smeedle, and absolutely, as always, a great privilege to talk to you. A very, very charming young man, as well as being a hugely successful racing driver. So we have heard that our podium is confirmed. Here it is on the top step of the podium. Michael Smeedle, P1, Christoph Holstein is P2, and Wojciech Polesny is P3. That's the way the race has been completed, with a fine victory for Michael Smeedle, which adds still further cement, if you will, to his championship charge, which has seen extraordinary dominance from Michael Smeedle. But, he's had to pedal the car, Fabian, and, you have to be consistent, and even when. And I think it's fair to say that Michael and I have had big disagreements over the knockout qualifying because, of course, as championship leader, he's disadvantaged every time. They do say cream always rises to the top, Fabian. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that. We saw an incredible race. I would say from the beginning on, there was action straight away. We had mainly 2 really unlucky drivers. First of all, Sebastian Hirsch starting from P2. Completely missing the start, starting way too early, and then of course Holstein in the end with his technical problem. But that's racing. Sometimes you are not in control, so it's even more important to go 100%, go consistent, go fast, and don't make any mistakes from yourself. So yeah, a shame for him, but in the end Smeedle won, and of course congrats to him.
Fabian, one other thing that I want to ask you is, just behind you is race control, which is now empty. And the reason for that is credit to all the drivers, because I think there were lots of overtakes, there was lots of action for us to call, but it was a supremely clean and tidy race. Respect to all the drivers, Fabian.
Yeah, of course, especially in the beginning. For me, the first 2-3 laps were crazy racing, but clean racing, and that's important, and it was great to watch that all drivers are going fast but clean.
Fabian, as always, it's a privilege to share a microphone with you. Great fun.
Same for me, thank you.
It's a great pleasure. Right, let's take a look now then, as we say big thanks to Fabian Vettel for sharing microphone duties with me then. And as I say, that pit perch behind is where race control is situated, and there's no one there, and that says just how good and clean this race was. We are awaiting the podium, and here we can see, going to step 3 on the podium is one Mr. Wojciech Polesny, who receives his trophy. in the lounge in Munich. Well done, Wojciech. A fine P3 for you. Well done indeed. Now, they obviously make them quite big in the Czech Republic because Wojciech and Mikhail are both quite tall. But here taking P2 is Christoph Holstein. And thanks for the wave. Thanks for the thumbs up, Christoph. And many congratulations to you. P2 for Christoph Holstein then. It is what could have been, perhaps, and he's in our lounge in the circle in Zurich. And here comes Michael Smeedel now, who will be heading towards the top step of the podium once again. In fact, his footprints are almost moulded in like the pavement in Hollywood, such as how often he is on the top step of the podium, but it's brought about by absolute skill and great racing. And Michael Smeedel then on the top step of the podium. Many congratulations. Our race winner from, what's the silly pose for, Wojciech? From Silverstone. Absolutely brilliant stuff. There we are, podium completed. The lovely trophies are awarded, and it's a good time for the Czech Republic taking P1 and P3. And the two drivers in P1 and P3, you can see there as they hold their trophies, as the focus of the world's media, as always, is on our drivers who are successful in Racing Unleashed. And there, confirmation then in virtual terms of who did what and where. Michael Smeedel, P1, Christoph Holstein, P2, Wojciech Polesny, P3. From here, we head off to the Ardennes Forest and Spa-Francorchamps for the next edition of Racing Unleashed. From myself, from Fabian Vettel, and all the team here, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time as Racing Unleashed goes beyond the pinnacle. Goodbye.
This is Racing Unleashed Beyond the Pinnacle.
Hold on to your hats. We are on the grid. Who is going to be king of the late breakers? Excellent onboard shot. Michael Smeedel is throwing absolutely everything at this, including the kitchen sink. Look at this. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Disaster strikes.
Unglaublich. Wow, qué pelea.
I'm loving this.
Take your hat off and give him a bow. He's already in the lead, and now he can sail off into the sunset.
This is Racing Unleashed.